This is Gio Woodley, the in-arena voice of the NBA G League's Osceola Magic, and you're listening to a presentation of Shreveport Mudbugs hockey. It's almost time to drop the puck. Let's send it ringside with Landers Auto Group pregame show with the voice of the Mudbugs, Zach Grant.
Under 20 games to go in the 2025-26 campaign, and with points at a premium, the Bugs are back in the desert as the road trip winds down after 5 straight weeks away from Shreveport, as the Bugs look to avenge their last game and get back in the win column this evening. Live from the Amarillo Civic Center Complex, Mudbugs hockey is on the air. I'm voice of the Mudbugs, Zach Grant. Duncan Welker will join us in a few moments, and welcome in now to the Mudbugs warm-up show driven by Landers Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Fiat. Mudbugs coming to this one looking to bounce back after a 4-0 loss on Saturday last week, a result that split the weekend and snapped some momentum. Wasn't the finish they wanted with a lackluster defensive performance and a penalty-riddled affair, but with the playoff race tightening up, every game down the stretch carries some extra weight. Standing in their weight tonight are the Amarillo Wranglers, who also split last weekend, trading 4-1 victories with Oklahoma in a weird scheduling stretch where they played 4 straight against the Warriors. The Wranglers have struggled on home ice this year, but they know just how important 2 points can be at this stage of the season. For the Bugs, the math is simple. Just a few points outside of the playoff spot, and tonight represents one last chance on this road trip to make a statement before heading back to George's Pond. Response, urgency, and discipline will be the focus as the Mudbugs look to finish the trip the right way. It's the Mudbugs and the Wranglers, the end of a long road swing, and a critical night in the playoff chase. We'll step aside for a quick break. On the other side, we'll hear from Bugs assistant coach Brett Smith as the Landers warm-up show continues on Bugs Broadcast Network.
Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area, and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage, and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Final weekend of the road trip upon us as we take on the Amarillo Wranglers this evening. Back on the Landers warm-up show, now time for our coach's conversation with Bugs assistant coach Brett Smith. Now, Smitty, it's in the rearview mirror, so I don't want to dwell on it too much, of course, but what are your takeaways from Saturday against the Brahmas?
I mean, I'm not even sure it was much of a hockey game to begin with everything that was going on, but we didn't play well enough regardless of the score. So yeah, something we want to forget about and come out with a pretty solid effort here tonight against a good Amarillo team.
The end of a long road trip, how important is it for the guys to finish the stretch the right way?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you want to get some momentum rolling into a little bit of a home stretch, which is nice. We're here in a tough building to play here Friday and Saturday night, but we had a good week of practice. The boys had a good skate this morning, and I expect them to be ready tonight.
I talked a little bit with Soupy about this last week, but as we look back on the season, in September you get a whole bunch of new faces in Shreveport. You came back to Shreveport. As you kind of look at things now, how has the team progressed looking back at the season?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few moves here and there, but I think overall we've progressed slowly. I mean, we've been inconsistent at times, and I think we should have more wins than we have. But I see a lot of things that I like as well. And if we can find a way to string things together and play the way I know these guys can play over the next stretch of games, we're going to put ourselves in a really good position to get into the playoffs.
All right, now as we look at the matchup tonight, Amarillo, team that struggled to win games this season, sitting in the bottom of the South. They have not yet lost to the Bugs in our first 4 matchups. What's kind of the key to get over the hump against the Wranglers?
You know what? I don't know if it's. I mean, they have a good team. Don't get me wrong. They can score goals at will. I don't know if they've seen our best yet, and I hope that's what we can bring tonight. And I mean, you say they're in the cellar, but I mean, my God, if they went on a 5-game winning streak, they're probably in 3rd place or 4th place. So it's a tight division. They are a good team, and we just got to come out guns a-blazing and really worry about ourselves. And I know I talk about that a lot, but it's our game. If we dictate how the game goes, we can be successful most nights.
Yeah, we kind of get fast forward to 7:14. The puck drops. First couple of minutes of the game go by. What are some of the signs that you're looking to see for the right energy tonight?
Energy, legs moving, and finishing hits. If anybody, well, probably most people watch the Team USA game, but I watched the Team Canada game yesterday, and you had a bunch of superstars out there in the Olympics moving their legs and finishing every hit. And if the superstars can do that, why can't our guys do it? Turn themselves into superstars.
Absolutely. And lastly, before we let you go, games are becoming important as the number of dates ahead dwindles. How do you balance that urgency while also not getting too aggressive and leaving opportunities to go the other way against you?
Yeah, you know what? You just stick to your game plan. It's a process. We've been trying to follow that process all year long, and if we can just play our game, play tenacious, play with energy, play hard, get shots to the net, have good goaltending, and I mean, it's what everybody says, but with this particular group, that is how we need to win hockey games. And if we can play the way we've been preaching, we can be successful.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Smitty. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we're back here live now in the Landers warm-up show. And before we get set here, as they're about to introduce the starting lineups, we'll toss it over to my partner in crime tonight, Duncan Walker, to take us through our Whataburger starting lineups and our Morrison DeWitt injury scratch report.
Thanks, Zach. Of course, on the Morrison DeWitt injury lawyer's injury report, side of things, no injuries tonight as Joe Semango returns to the Bugs. And of course, on the healthy scratch side of things, Gabriel Lopez Corsi will be in the stands tonight. And of course, out, not with an injury but to international duties, is number 17, Nandor Polonier. So that is all for your Morrison DeWitt injury lawyers injury report. And of course, now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for your Whataburger starting lineup. Brought to you by friends at Whataburger, just like you like it. Firstly, for these Amarillo Wranglers, head coach by Michael Hill. Assistant coach is Lucas Stern. Athletic trainer is Lisa Johnson. Of course, their head equipment manager is George Escamilla. First for these Amarillo Wranglers, at left wing, number 74, Ian Boers. And taking the opening faceoff, and at center, number 7, Mason Lupo. And at right wing, number 39, Jake Thornton. Of course, on the left defense is number 14, Hayden Hedquist. And at the right defense, number 14, Landon Poe. Getting the start of net tonight for the Amarillo Wranglers is number 33, Casimir Weckstrom. So that is all for your Amarillo Wranglers side of things of your Whataburger starting lineup. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your Whataburger starting lineup for your Shreveport Mudbugs. At the left wing from Nashville, Tennessee, number 9, Ryan Beard. At center and taking the opening faceoff from Brighton, Michigan, number 22, Charlie Birchfield. And at the right wing from Havertown, Pennsylvania, and returning to the lineup, number 36, Joe Semengo. At the left defense from Dublin, Ohio, number 5, Owen Case. And at the right defense from Wheaton, Illinois, number 4, Johnny Burnt. And getting the start in net tonight for your Shreveport Mudbugs. And in between the pipes from Gormley, Ontario, number 31, Tyler Hodges. Your Mudbugs are led by head coach Jason Tooby Campbell. Assistant coach is Brett Smith. Honorary assistant coach is Chris Lane. Willis Knight athletic trainer is Hunter Robinson. And of course, your head coach manager is Billy T. Welker. Those are your Whataburger starting lineups. Brought to you once again by your friends at Whataburger. Whataburger, just like you like it. And Zach, as the Bugs make their way out onto the ice, are actually out on the ice now. Of course, they're wearing, once again, the white jerseys with the Bugs going across the center. Of course, the claw being in place of the U. I'm not going to lie, I like that logo. But, of course, then on the bottom with the fleur-de-lis, which, that's my favorite. And now Amarillo's getting ready to come out. They're actually the rodeo clowns, one of their alternate identities. As we see that a trend in hockey at all levels, the alternate identity. But now, of course, these Amarillo Wranglers, as we mentioned, they've gotten the best of us the last few times we've played them. Of course, last time we were in this building, a sweep weekend for the Amarillo Wranglers. Of course, on Friday night was a shootout win for the Wranglers. And then, well, Saturday night, Zach, is a game I personally like to forget on my side of things. But, of course, the Mudbugs also wish to forget that as the Amarillo Wranglers mascot make their way out of the ice, though, Zach. So that's all for my side of things, Zach. Anything on your end about both these teams making their way out on the ice right now?
No, I mean, again, you kind of got interesting matchup. Amarillo sits at the bottom of the South Division. They've struggled this year. They've done very well against the Bugs. Again, as you mentioned, 4 wins and 4 tries for them against us. And it's always interesting just how the matchup can kind of change things because, of course, if you look at the flip side for us, we've done the same against Lone Star. Lone Star is coming. They've killed everybody.
Yep.
They have 9 losses. And, a good handful of those are from us. So you just never know how you're going to match up against a team.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the beauty of hockey, really at any level, but as we always say, that's the beauty of the North American Hockey League and beauty of the South Division. Every team has a chance, and especially as we come up into these last few months, last few months, I should say, these last few weeks, these points are important, really for both these teams, because even if you look at the standings right now, Amarillo sits, of course, in last place. And as a reminder, Zach, and to everybody back at home, the top 4 teams in the South Division make the playoffs and the chance to compete for the Robertson Cup there in Blaine, Minnesota. But as you look at the standings, Zach, of course, in the South Division, Lone Star still in first, El Paso in second, New Mexico in third, Corpus in fourth, Amarillo down there in eighth. But Oklahoma, Shreveport, and Odessa not too far off. And even for Amarillo, if you can get a couple games together from the Amarillo side of things, you can make a run. But obviously, we wish to deny that as the national anthem. It's national anthem time here in Amarillo. So on the other side of things, it'll be puck drop time. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV, and as always, the Mudbugs Audio Network. We'll be back.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantle and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Are you looking for the perfect place to host your next event? Whether it's a birthday party, corporate get-together, school trip, or any private celebration, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum has you covered. From ice-level excitement to unforgettable memories, your group will have an experience like never before. Start planning your next event today. Call 318-636-7094 to book your private outing at George's Pond.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com.
Hey, this is Tyler Hodges, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Welker. Now let's get back to the action.
Alrighty, back here in Amarillo, Texas. The Wranglers taking on the Mudbugs tonight live from the Amarillo Civic Center Complex, or as it's known at Center Ice, the Budweiser Bullpen. Here's the Wranglers look to go 5 straight against the Bugs, and with as we mentioned in the pregame, points becoming even more important. It's a big time for the Bugs to kind of hit a hot streak before they head back home.
Absolutely. The biggest thing that I've talked to each and every member of this Mudbugs roster is get these 2 points, get these 2 points. Just keep it moving on the point side of things. And Zach, before we continue on, I forgot to mention, as part of the Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers Report, Duke Earhart is serving a 1-game suspension, and Jason Tupi Campbell is also serving a 2-game suspension. So he will be out for the weekend. So behind the bench for the head coaching duties, we will see Brett Smith. So that's where we lay things there on that side of things, as the Rodeo Clowns, Wranglers, coming up now. And, of course, the Mudbugs will. So, once again, taking that opening face, will be number 22, Charlie Birchfield. And, of course, for the Amarillo Wranglers, number 7, Mason Lupa. So, Zach, 20 minutes put on the board. The boys are standing up, sticks on boards. And, Zach, I'm excited, brother. Let's get her going.
Alrighty, here we go. Amarillo and Shreveport. Puck is down. Game number 42 of the campaign is underway as Birchfield does not win the opening faceoff, but he chips it into the offensive zone nonetheless. But the Bugs were ruled offside, so they'll have to tag up. Nothing doing there as Amarillo will touch it up the near wall, bring it in, dumped in, head off the stick of Jake Thornton, wrapped around the board's far side, eventually corralled by the Bugs. Birchfield plays it to the blue line, but not out. Owen Case will come to find the escape valve and get it back out to center, but Amarillo steals it right away at the red line, and that's brought in offside. Draws our first whistle 28 seconds in. Let's remind you the first period tonight brought to you as always by our friends at Advanced Air Conditioning and Heating, offering installation, repairs, and maintenance for homes and businesses in the area. Log on to advancedac.com. That's advancedac.com. Again, the Bugs closing out this long road trip that should have only been 5 out of 6 weeks. The snow got us and snowed out our 2 home games, so that made it now 5 straight weeks on the road. Bugs will be back at home for 3 as it's touched the head off the face-off from Vinny DiUlio. Behind the net it's played. Wrapped around the board to the far side, back to the blue line. Overskated by 2 Bugs, and it bounces over Grinder's stick all the way back down where Mitchell Reed tracks it down just about a minute in the hockey game here tonight. Simon did not see him in the lineup last weekend. Got the touch to the blue line and brought in for a moment, eventually banked down and all the way down. And we're going to get an icing whistle coming up here on Amarillo. Offensive zone draw coming up for the Bugs 59 seconds into this one.
Of course, all icing this season is brought to you by our friends at Louder's Baking Company. Once again, that's Louder's Baking Company, the newest corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Zach, and you're right, just almost 59 seconds, but we'll round it up to a minute. That's what they say in hockey. You round up in ice hockey. But now as Evan Hoagland takes the faceoff here to the left-hand side of Rex Stroom, I believe. Yes, Rex Stroom.
Right off the draw, and the Wranglers control. Near side, Jonah Jasser touched it into the corner. It's back in the lineup as well here tonight as it's played around offensive end by the Bugs. Far circle, sent back near side for Zach Wilson. Wilson to the bottom of the left circle with a toe drag. It's deflected up into the netting. Out of play. Good to see Zach Wilson back out there. We didn't see him for the second half of Saturday's game against Lone Star, but good to see him back out on the ice here tonight.
Yeah, no, he made a quick recovery. He took himself out of the game last week. I asked him why, but he didn't say exactly why. I think it was due to something that had happened back in the first or second. 100% certain, but glad to see him recovered nonetheless.
Face off one back for Owen K. Slide to the cross. Big drive for Wilson. Hit a bug up high in front, and that draws a whistle here. And wow, that was well set up that time as we got a bug down in the slot, getting hit by that puck. It was one right back to Owen Case. He snapped it across quickly. Looks like, yeah, Jonah Jasser in the slot there, slow to get up. So Jasser has been bit by the injury bug a few times this year, and now it looks like head athletic trainer Hunter Robinson going to get an early start to his duties here tonight. That was, again, it's unfortunate there. It's a well set up play. That's exactly what you want to do, but then, you know, you try to put the traffic in front. It looks like Jasser's going to head off to the locker room with Hunter Robinson. So it's a big loss for the Bugs early on, not even a minute and a half here, or a minute and a half in, rather, into this first period.
It is, but hopefully it's just a swift. Man, I'm not getting my words right tonight. It's a swift and easy recovery.
Controlled all the way down. Amarillo below the goal line. Snapped across the near side for Ogle. Ogle starts up the far side wing to Bennett, who sticks it into the middle. Brought in onside. Big drive there. Turned aside by Owen Case. Comes around near corner now. Up to the blue line for a moment. Eventually picked up, though, by Sakrisky, who weaves through the D and lost the puck at the blue line. It's sent all the way back down. Icing potentially. Yes, it will, as the foot race won by Remy Pusateri that time. And You know, Tyler Hodges back in the lineup tonight. Has a 13-10, 2-3 record overall, 289 goals against, 905 save percentage. Did not play at all last weekend. Got a nice, probably much-needed rest after he's been the reliable backbone of the goaltending squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, if you're Tyler Hodges in this scenario, you definitely need that rest as the faceoff goes off to the right-hand side this time of Rexstrom. And the puck goes out of play.
That didn't take long. You know, there's a guy down there who will corral that puck wearing a Mike Ruzioni jersey. So he's in the spirit with the Olympics going on.
Yep.
I actually, sitting in the hotel earlier being bored, watched Miracle, one of my favorite movies. You don't want to ever watch it with me because I quote it word for word because I have it memorized. So don't ever watch Miracle with me. This is your warning here as Burt will fire one for the blue line. Into the corner it goes. 2 minutes gone here in the opening frame. No score. And officially no shots on the board quite yet either. It's been a lot of back and forth in the neutral zone. Finally a shot goes up for the Bugs after that face-off there. And at center ice, it's dumped in and out of play again. So another stoppage. Well, the Bugs wanted to flow tonight, and we haven't gotten it quite yet.
Well, not yet, but we'll find it. I get the feeling we'll find it sooner rather than later, Zach. And as for watching Miracle with you, I don't blame you. Believe me, I quote it a lot in my head too. I actually, fun fact, when I tried out for my 5th grade drama club, I did the Herb Brooks speech as my tryout, but we'll get back to that later on.
I did mine in 7th grade, so there we go. Wrapped around the boards, Amarillo controls defensive end. They'll skate left to right in this opening frame. Bugs will pinch and hold in on the far half wall. Chipped in again towards the net. Goes wide of the cage zone. It's eventually corralled near side again by Amarillo. Out of the zone, they come to center. Touched ahead. They say it's onside in the slot. Big drive, and Hodges stands up to the task as he faces the first shot on net for Amarillo. Been a lot of time in the Bugs' offensive end thus far, but now Amarillo starting to get a little bit of pressure, opening up the skating lanes as it's played up and flipped to center ice by the Bugs again. Not going to be icing if it gets waved. No, actually, it is going to somehow. I thought it was going to check up there after it hit the ice, but it kept on going. So that's an icing whistle with 17-14 left in the first.
Yeah, even Ryan Barrett was a little confused by that because he thought it was going to just kind of slow down. But I guess this ice also might be a little bit of curling ice, but, you know, there was no sweepers needed. As we mentioned, the Olympics, of course, all icings this season. Zach, as always, brought to you by our friends at Lauder's Baking Company. So, fun stuff.
There's a D-zone draw for the Bugs after that icing call. Tied up off the draw. Amarillo's going to spin it back to the blue line. Held in near side by Ogle. He drives one from the point. That one's turned aside, and Joe Semengo gets the first touch on it. And Semengo, as you mentioned, coming back into the lineup after a couple of weeks off, but it's eventually controlled now by Borthel on the far side. Wrapped up into the corner. John Burnt will touch it for Remy. Remy below the goal line. Backhands it up for Jared Griner. It's intercepted by Ogle at the hash marks, and he'll send it back below the cage. Picked back up, and the outlet pass for Griner goes over his outstretched glove, and Amarillo will track it back down again in their own net. Start the breakout as Diulio steals it right on top of the center logo, and then Griner tried to corral it, but it goes off his stick where Evan Adams waits for it eventually. Picks it up for John Burnt. They'll go D-to-D. Up ahead for Simon. Simon gains his own right side to the bottom of the circle. Shot there is stopped, and that'll be held on to for a whistle, but the Bugs, again, trying to get that offense rolling after the shutout on Saturday night, and they've had a few good chances here. And, you know, the offense, Duncan, looking at it, it's got to be important here tonight for these two teams. The Bugs come in 2.68 goals against, or goals for per game, rather. Amarillo at 2.62. So they're pretty even offenses this far.
Yeah, offenses both sides, as you mentioned, just looking for something. And that was a good opportunity there from Jason Simons. Just Rexstrom was just able to come up with it.
Amarillo eventually sends it forward for Bennett. Into the corner it goes, wrapped around the boards. Comes far side where Adams picks it up. He's shoved off the puck along the half wall. Amarillo can't corral it cleanly into slot, so eventually the Bugs will turn it out for Griner. Just barely onside, walks down the slot, fires one. That's turned aside. Come to the near wall, and a giveaway right out in front. Griner corrals it again, toes the line around a harassing back check. Goes down the slot, lost the puck. Bennett turns it to the blue line, but not out, and the Bugs pick it back up. Towing the line again, stays onside. Griner fired one through traffic. Hit a body in front. That was Simon. Don't think the netminder ever saw it. Jason then gets another one and turns it off the side of the net. And Amarillo will play it quickly out to center, but Owen Case off of the bench will track it down his own blue line. They'll catch Amarillo on a change. Gerhardt drops it back. Nobody was on with the blue line. Eventually backhanded out by Dolan. Out to center ice it comes. Bugs pick it back up right over the Wranglers logo at center ice. Gerhardt shoved off the puck. Corralled by Dolan again. Back at the defensive end. D-to-D across to the far side. And outlet pass doesn't connect, and another icing whistle. That comes with 15-16 left in the first. So now we got some shots going, 3-1 after a shotless first couple of minutes.
Yeah, now it is. Well, Zach, I don't really think there's much you can say right there. You're finding the chances if you're the Bugs, and that's a good thing, especially. And the defensive core is obviously trying to find a way to keep the puck in the zone, setting up as Bugs win the face-off back.
There's Case with a quick wrist shot, so we're continuing on with the theme here tonight, and we get another face-off. So face-offs are going to be important thus far as well. Again, the Bugs come in at 18-17, 3-3, currently sitting in that last playoff spot, but there's a whole bunch of names kind of all over the standings, just a few points separate. So every single game as we hit the final 18 becomes important as Amarillo ties it up to the wall, and Owen Case flips it, which gets tipped, and another whistle, 15:07 left in the first period. We might be into Saturday before this one's over at this pace.
No, you're not wrong. And a lot of whistles. A trend that's seen. Well, I'll just leave it at that. But as we move on, and Evan Hoagland will take that face off.
So Hoagland again has it tied up to the wall. We've only seen really that one clean face-off win as well. Everything else has kind of been tie-ups off the wall, but Hodges eventually plays it below his goal line for Owen Case, who swings it off to the far side, and that outlet pass doesn't connect, but it goes on net, so that'll save us from another whistle. It's played out to center ice again. Bugs will backhand in offside. They'll tag up. Amarillo plays it back to the offensive blue line, and over the line right side. Dumped into the corner it goes. Remy in a foot race with Izadi for it. And it goes up to the blue line and held in somehow. Azadi's got it again, far corner, tied up along the wall, 14:30 and rolling. Left in this opening frame here on this Friday night as it's played up for Gerhard, near side. And over the line, Gerhard hits the brakes at the top of the circle, gets knocked down off the puck, fed it down to the bottom for Burt. He got hooked. Puck comes right out in front. Bugs backhand, shot there for Hoagland is turned aside. And it's going to be played to the wall again, picked up by Izadi for Amarillo. Back, and he'll turn it and fire it out of the zone. Bugs will almost kind of change it. Wolf Talby right off the bench will knock down a man right out in front. And that's played back the other way. Turn and fire. Doesn't get all the way into the corner, though. It's again picked up by Amarillo. They catch the Bugs on a change now. Some sloppy line changes thus far. Wolf Talby will play it up into the netting and out of play for a whistle and a neutral zone face-off with 13:51. But, you know, this Friday night, both teams just got to kind of get settled in. They're still feeling it out.
Yeah, and they're definitely feeling it out, of course, with the Bugs leading in the shot category 4-1. And so you like to see that, but obviously you want to see more shots, more chances, more opportunities. But, yeah.
Zakrisky will jump the draw, and he wins it. Back for Adams, who fires it in from the red line. Behind the goal, it's played by Amarillo. They've got it far corner. Defensive end, stolen away, though, right at the blue line. Bugs can't hold it in, though, as Adams will have to corral to his own blue line. He'll send it forward. Into the zone it goes. Off a touch pass there for Hoagland. Below the goal line, flipped up to the blue and back out to center again, where Adams will track it down. Once more for the Bugs, and Adams will give it away right in front of the net. It's Dolan with it in the corner. He shoved off the wall. Good play there by Adams to stay with it. Zakrisky eventually picks it up at the near circle, and Zakrisky plays it across for Roberts, who rifles it in. He'll go off for a change as the Bugs almost wholesale line change. The only one still out there is Chase Zakrisky. Played to the blue line by Lupo, trying to clear, and he'll flip it over the linesman head. Off the glass, played down with a high stick, eventually touched by the Bugs, so that's washed out. 7 minutes into the opening period. Shreveport trying to start the breakout. Roberts dances around a check. Into the corner it goes. Flipped up top now for Birchfield, the newcomer. In just his second game with the Bugs. Joined the team last week on Saturday before that Lone Star game, and now he's had a full week of practice. I can't wait to see what he puts together in the lineup. He was a fun player to watch on Saturday with no practice. Imagine once he gets kind of in with the guys as the Bugs will bring it in. Backhanded from the blue line over Birchfield's stick. Comes near side along the wall. Flipped up off the top of the glass. Goes far side. Once again picked up by the Bugs offensive end. Birchfield along the half wall. Tied up. Bugs get it right back. Right circle. Sent back up top. Remy fires one. Pushed it just wide. And it comes into the near corner. Flipped up the wall for Burt. Burt snaps it back across for Remy. Doesn't corral it cleanly. Now gets it back. Feeds it into the slot. And it gets tipped on net. And a cover up for a whistle there with 12:10. And again, now the Bugs really starting to get that offensive zone pressure here. And they've got those couple of nice opportunities.
No, they are, Zach. And I'm not going to lie. That puck took a bit of a wacky bounce onto the glove side of Weckstrom there. But Yeah, just a wacky bounce, but you know what? We'll take it. Offensive zone face-off. Of course, shout out to my good friend Maddie back in Benton for that word. So we'll have to see if anything else as the Bugs win, or excuse me, Wranglers actually won that draw. It was tied up. So another tied up draw there, Zach, as we mentioned.
As a reminder, the Buffalo Wild Wings, proud corporate partner of your Mudbugs, Wings Beer Sports. As the Wranglers control the face-off. Bennett up ahead, in over the line, big drive there. Hodges with a kick save. Coming down the slot was Gentler. That one's pushed wide, just the second shot of the game in almost 9.5 minutes for Amarillo. They have not gotten much pressure as Bennett overskates it through his skates. It trickles over the line and stays on side. Griner tracks it down far corner. John Burnt plays it up ahead the wall. Far half wall he controls to the blue line, poked away, got it right back, fires it up to the offensive blue line. It's chipped in by Simons. Gets hit along the boards that time, wrapped around the boards far side, comes free for Vinny. Vinny for Simons, high slot. That's poked away, but goes through the skates of a Wrangler, back up onto the blue line for Adams. Has his pocket picked, and it comes back out to center ice where it's played up by Hegarty. Icing is waved off as he won the footer race. He's got it up to the blue line, turns it back, cycles into the corner. For Vasega, the leading scorer, he's had a solid year, 45 points, 27 assists, 18 goals for him. So he leads all their offensive categories, this one up into the netting and out of play. You know, in all the games I've done, that's going to bring us to a media. Right as I go to a point, they're like, get out of here. Nonetheless, 10:55 left. We'll take a quick timeout. This is Mudbugs Hockey on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty and flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke-flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Hey fan, this is William Alexis Tremblay and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Walker. Now let's get back to the action. Let's go Bugs!
Mudbugs Hockey is always brought to you by Fireplace Specialties. Fireplaces, gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills, they've got it all. Located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. 10:55 left in period number one, no score. So, as I was getting to before the break, Duncan, Rasiga for Amarillo, he leads in all three categories, goals, assists, and points. And in the month and a half I've been here, he's the only player on an opposing team that has led all three of those categories.
Well, that's interesting. You're good. And Mudbugs on a break here, though, but we'll get back to that point later. Well, actually, no time like right now.
So we got another whistle, so there you go.
No, but of course, Raskin leading all the categories, like you mentioned. Number 89, Alexander Raskin, or Rasego, as we up here.
18 goals, 27 assists.
Yeah, Daniel Rasega. Now, and of course, if I'm correct, and I'll have to check my numbers. Rasega made the top prospects team, the South Division team, I believe, as the Wranglers win the faceoff though here.
I would hope so. I mean, he is far and above everybody else stats-wise on the Amarillo roster. You know, the Bugs have kind of had a blessing of sorts. There's a big drive that's turned aside that, you know, we have a very balanced stat line. Nobody's really, I mean, Hoagland leads in goals and points, but there's a few players within just a couple of them. That one takes a weird hop off of the board, goes off the side of the net. Tremblay almost had a chance there, but he was outnumbered. Eventually played out. Amarillo down the slot, dropped off for that leading scorer. Raska fires one. That's turned aside, and Hodges will hang on for a whistle almost midway through this opening period here at the Budweiser bullpen. But, yeah, the Bugs, like I said, Duncan, have had that balanced lineup all season. You know, you look at John Burns got 27. Hoagland tied with him as well, and a whole bunch of guys in the teens as far as points go.
No, absolutely, and I'm actually checking the top prospects team roster. I don't see Daniel Rasega, at least on the South roster, nor on the the Selects Red roster. Of course, for us, Jonah Jasser made that top prospects Selects Red roster, but we'll get back to that next chance we get, though, Zach.
Far side is controlled by Dolan in the corner. Drops it off. Stolen away by Roberts. Roberts flips it off of the glass, takes a weird hop again, tied a ball on the wall. They get there by Wilson. Will poke the puck free for Chase Sakrisky, who can't clear it as it's dumped back in. Owen Case will corral it, and he'll wrap it around the board's far side, trying to feed it out. And it gets to the blue line, but not out of the zone as it's held in again. Wolf Dalby couldn't get the second chance clear on it. Bugs will settle it down back of the net. Owen Case off to the left. Up the wall for Wolf Dalby. Through the center circle. Feeds it off right side. Cutting down the slot with Roberts, but he had 3 Wranglers on him, and it's turned away from it. Below the goal line it goes again. Roberts has it poked away. Feeds it back for Wolf Dalby. Flips it up the wall to the blue line. Held in by John Byrne as he takes a check. Left off again for Wolf Dalby. Into the slot it goes for a moment for the Bugs. Roberts whacking at it. Back of the net now Sakrisky. Works below the goal line. Off to his right. Shoved off the puck that time by Mason Lupo. Lupo eventually works it free. Up the blue line it comes and out to center. As the Wranglers will hold on to possession. Barrett comes off the bench in defense, but John Burnt's got to get to the puck. He'll backhand it softly along the kick plate. Eventually played below the goal line again for Lupo. Lupo wraps it around, tried to center it, but the Bugs were there to steal it away. Back to center ice it comes. Brought in over the line by Remy. Remy around one defender, makes the second one miss, fed it into the slot for Barrett. Couldn't corral it cleanly. Burnt will pinch and hold it at the blue line, but eventually Amarillo, that's going to be a penalty coming up on the Bugs, and with 8:27 left, the Shreveport penalty kill is going to be the first special teams in action.
Of course, on this first choice penalty kill, Zach. Penalty kill, as we've seen, as it looks like, who's going into the box for us? It looks like Charlie Birchfield will be. The penalty kill in terms of, oh no, it looks like it's going to be a 4-on-4 actually. Hedquist and Birchfield. All right. Well, that is something. I'll put it like that, brother.
Well, we'll get the official scoring word on that for a moment. So Hedquist will sit, Birchfield will sit. So we do not see that 6th or 8th leading penalty kill in the NAHL. It's never going to get a 4-on-4 at center ice.
Not as I was going to say, though, but we'll obviously come back to that. But I will say this, though. The 4-on-4 effort last weekend. I wish we played last night. No, last weekend in Lone Star, the 4-on-4 effort, it kind of got to Lone Star a little bit, and you saw a lot of those chances as Oakland jumps to draw.
And he likes to do that right in front. Puts just wide. He had Gerhard there as well. Gerhard sent it back to him, and that extra pass comes back to bite the Bugs. And that'll get us 15 seconds into the 4-on-4 with 8:10 and rolling here in the first period as the Bugs settle it down back of the cage. Now they'll retreat back. It's Reed. He'll drop it off. Work off to the left of the net. It's Evan Adams up the center of the ice. Works off to his right. Gains the zone as Hoagland with a nice toe drag to save it. And it goes off an Amarillo body and back out to center. So Adams retreats back to his blue line. It goes off of a man there and all the way back down into the Shreveport defensive end. Minute 20 to go on the 4-on-4. They go to the right of the net, up the far side again for Hoagland. He's got it, weaves around 2 defenders, into the slot, lost the puck. Nobody was home to help him out. And eventually it's played back the other way as Amarillo brings it back in onside. Big shot there, goes through the crease, and Gerhard corrals the loose puck. Grayson starts it up on the attack through the center circle. Gains the zone over the line. His shot turned aside. Vinny Diulio tried to play it. Up the wall it comes at the hash marks. Far circle into the corner. Owen Case fights for it. Centering feed for Vinny. Couldn't get there cleanly, so it's eventually controlled by Amarillo. Back of their net, 45 seconds to go. On the 4-on-4 with just about 7 minutes to go. In the opening frame, shots are 5-3 in favor of the Bugs as now Amarillo waits to get some fresh bodies out there. They'll wait behind the net. Into the left corner it goes. Back now exactly behind the cage. Slipped up the wall far side for Gentler. Gentler works up the ice and over the line. Hits the brakes and cycles back to the blue line. Centering feed there. Man off the bench coming in is O'Rourke. A big drive, and Hodges will make the glove stop with 6:44 left in the opening period.
Puck like glove, like metal to a magnet, Zach. I always say it, but no, as for these penalties with 18 seconds left, no time like right now, Hayden Hedquist with an unsportsmanlike conduct, and then Charlie Birchfield with the tripping, as we saw. So, interesting. So, something must have been said from Hedquist there, but 18 seconds left on both those penalties as the faceoff goes off to the left-hand side of Tyler Hodges.
So, Lupo to take the draw, but the Bugs win this one, and Zach Wilson will corral it and hold on to it behind his net. They play catch behind the cage. It's Wolf Talby, feeds it back up for Owen Case. Brought in by Jeremiah Roberts, kept his stick. Onside, drop back for Liam. Tried to one-time it, and this is a potential odd man rush the other way. Thornton up the near wing, drops it off at the circle. Lupo lost into the corner, centering feed again for Thornton, and the net comes off. That'll draw a whistle with 6:20 left. A great chance there for Amarillo after the Bugs were aggressive. We kind of talked to Smitty about that in the pregame. Got to be aggressive, but you got to find a way to make sure you don't leave the back door open.
Oh, no, absolutely. You definitely don't want to leave the back door open. But you also don't want to get too fancy in terms of, from an Amarillo perspective, Mason Lupo tried to get a little too fancy with the toe drag, and he lost it. So a very fortunate break for the Bugs as looks like, well, I was going to say they won the face-off, but.
Big drive there, whistles wide, down low it goes again. Picked up below the goal line, centering feed there, back up top for Koval. Send it to the bottom of the left circle, centering feed there, goes through Wilson. Skeety, I think he got a piece of it. The rebound gets whistled wide and all the way down. Amarillo will clear it on themselves with 5:57 left. But, yeah, it's a delicate balance at this point in the season because you need those points, you need the victories. But, you know, and as you mentioned, Lupo got the puck kind of with open ice. If he had shot it, he had a great chance. He went for that extra deke and eventually lost it into the corner. Didn't get anything out. But now it's controlled again. Offensive end by Poe, who fires one. Hodges got a piece of it. Remy wraps it around the board. Still in the D zone for the Bugs. Controlled by Amarillo now into the left corner. Picked up by Semengo up the center of the ice. And he'll feed it up for Charlie Birchfield. Birchfield up ahead to the blue line. Nice pass for Baird. Splits the D. His shot is stopped and covered for a whistle. That was a great play offensively for the Bugs. And Birchfield got his own blue line. He fed it forward to his open man. Nice move by Barzy to split the D, and he got a great scoring chance out of it.
Oh, absolutely. Ryan Barrett was able to, and actually he was a little bit of a step behind, but he still was able to whack at the puck, which is something I mentioned back in New Mexico. Even if you're like 2 to 3 inches from that puck, if your stick is close enough, whack at it. You never know what will happen. It'll either go lead to an offensive zone faceoff, as we see here, or it'll lead to a goal. Basically what I'm saying is take your chances. Go, go, go.
Off the draw, Bugs control offensive end. Gerhard whacks at it. That one goes through the crease, but does not go in. Now a rebound right out front. Grayson, goaltender, never saw it. And they're just firing the pucks at the net, and that's exactly what you want to see on offense. And another stoppage brings us a face-off with 5:14 left in the first.
Not gonna lie, Weckstrom had the wherewithal to just kind of lay on it, or else I guarantee you if there's a bit more puck knowledge there, it would have been able to get jab at it, poke at it, and lead it past. But no, good stuff there from both sides, but obviously for us as Amarillo wins that face-off.
Amarillo wraps around the board. Gerhard tries to kick it back, controlled by John Burt. Right over the center logo. He'll dump it in far side. Offensive end it comes, but Amarillo again will play it up the wall. It's chipped in and held at the blue line. Azadi trying to poke it out. He'll clear it. The 5'11 forward for Amarillo. And Zadi's putting together a nice year as well. 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 total points. And now we got a delayed call upcoming. And now this time we will see the Bugs penalty kill in action. No 4-on-4 upcoming. And this Bugs penalty kill 8th best in the NAHL. Sitting right now at just under 84%. They're going to need a big one here.
Absolutely. As Johnny Burnt goes into the box for tripping. And I'm not going to lie, Zach, that might have been a bit of an Oscar-worthy performance on behalf of the Amarillo Wranglers. But again, that's just how I saw it. People see it other ways than me. That's why I'm up here. That's why you're up here, at least for the moment, as the Bugs do win that faceoff and send it right on down the length of the ice.
All the way down, they get the clear. 6 seconds into the kill. Controlled by Amarillo, back of their net. They'll start the breakout, and this is a kind of a dangerous spot for the Bugs. So the Amarillo's offense has struggled to get going early on. You give them a man advantage, and never know what that might break free.
Nope.
But into the corner it goes. Evan Adams controls, and he wraps it around the kick plate, and he gets another clear all the way down 30 seconds into the kill.
As we get in 30 seconds early on here. But good stuff from Evan Adams.
So Amarillo plays catch at their own blue line. Now they'll bring it into the offensive zone. Rifled around, comes near side at the circles. Touch back for Dolan. Up top for Gentler. Gentler harassed off the puck by Griner, but it's held into the offensive zone. Dolan toes the slot. Feeds it back near side for Gentler. He doesn't corral it cleanly, but he'll chase after into the corner. Bugs get it there as Griner gets shoved off the puck. Right out in front, Semengo trying to clear. He backhanded softly to the line, but not out. Here's Dolan again, down to the hash marks at the right circle. Feeds it back up top again. Gentler down low for Dolan. Dolan plays catch back up to the blue line. Almost an errant pass that time, but it's held in. Shot there, goes through the crease and gets deflected inside again. Gentler along the near half wall, turned off the puck, comes back far side again. 40 seconds to go on the power play for the Wranglers. They control it behind Hodges. Back up top to the blue line, held in on a nice play by Raskin. Raskin down to the bottom of the left circle. Into the corner it goes for Evan Adams. He's tied up along the wall. Bugs trying to clear with 28 seconds to go on the kill. Amarillo hold on to an offensive end. Gentler tries to send it up to the wall, and Adams is playing some good defense, and it's cleared by Semengo. Rifles it all the way down with 18 seconds.
Going to say it again. Good stuff from Evan Adams. And really this Bucks penalty kill, this Bucks first choice personnel penalty kill with 10 seconds left to the Johnny Burnt penalty.
So here it comes, far side up the wall for Ogle. He takes a check right after he gets over the blue line, and Wolf Talby corrals the loose puck. He'll fire it down right as the penalty expires, and a successful kill. The Bugs 1 for 1 on the PK here. That 84% successful unit does it again as Owen Case will fire it, and he doesn't get it out of the zone. It's held in. Turn towards the net. Pusateri picks it up behind Hodges. Works off to the left now, flips it off the wall, wide of Gerhard's stick. Played back in on a delayed offside by Amarillo. They'll have to tag up. Owen Case corrals it along the near circle. 2:28 to go. Opening frame. No score. Shots are just 8-4. It was a sloppy opening couple of minutes. Things kind of starting to settle down, but nobody's really had an offensive upper hand too much at this point. As Thornton will bring it over the blue line. Slides it across left side. Drive there for the point. That's blocker down in front. Gerhard has to go through his skates. Puck comes towards the crease. Into the corner it goes. Flipped up the wall again. Rasega, the leading scorer, down low again. Behind Hodges. Trying to work it free, and the Bugs doing a good job playing connected on defense. Here's a shot that gets turned aside. Comes back far side again. Picked up along the left circle. Around the hash marks it goes. Now to the boards, far side or near side for Tremblay. Tremblay knocked down to a knee. He'll still fire it around the boards for John Burnt, and that's flipped up and out of play with 1:35. So I want to talk about the big clear a moment ago there. So Adams is tied up along the wall. He tries to play it out. He can't. Then Semengo has the wherewithal to go over and help in defense and clear it. That's a connectedness that the Bugs have been looking for all season.
No, you're absolutely right, Zach. Just getting that connectedness from, especially with Evan Adams able to contribute to that big clear, as you mentioned. And looks like Charlie Birchall will take face off and win it. Well, won it for the moment.
Yeah, and you see the Bugs in their kind of down moments, and Semengo doesn't come to help on that in the down moments. That's what they need as this one comes back out to center. Bugs eventually seal it away, picked back up by Adams at his blue line. Feeds it off far side. Amarillo forces a turnover, and the linesman says they stay on side, so they have an offensive end as Barrett plays it up the wall. Far side again, tracked down by Adams. 1:05 seconds to go in the opening frame. Up to center, touch pass goes wide, and that'll draw an icing whistle with 1:01 left in the first, so a late D-zone draw upcoming for Shreveport.
Of course, all icings this season brought to you by friends at Louder's Baking Company. Once again, that's Louder's Baking Company. Best king cakes in Shreveport, in my opinion, but I think everybody knows that by this point. But I said it again, and I mean it with 1:01 left here. So, face-off goes back to Tyler Hodges. We'll see where we lay for this next minute and penny.
Tied up along the draw, and immediately Bennett tried to take a shot at it, but the Bugs able to turn it back out to center ice. And a whiff clear attempt. Here's Birchfield. Birchfield feeds it to Barrett, who fires one that puts just wide. Great stop that time. And man, oh man, that offensive play again. The defense leads to an offensive chance. They had a 2-on-1 and a great stop that time in net.
Connectedness, like we mentioned, is crucial at this point, and it was very wise of the Bugs to get that defensive zone win, send it up. Birchfield had Barrett right there. Of course, the net came off, but that's to nobody's fault, of course, especially not the fault of Casimir Wexstrom. But no, that was a heck of a play by the Bugs with 49.7 seconds. So Christie's going to take this face off.
So we'll do that one again, and the Amarillo center gets thrown out. So we'll see who goes in to take it.
The music here is something else, eh?
Yeah, it fits. It fits the building. It fits the city. It fits the rodeo clown's alternate identity. So.
Oh, it does.
This is played out to center ice. Picked back up by John Byrne at his own blue line. D to D, they go in the zone. Bugs break it out up ahead. Touched into the zone, onside. Give it away right out in front. Big drive and a stop again. But my, oh my, the Bugs are being aggressive here tonight. Great chance that time for Liam Wolf-Talby. He had a goal last weekend against Lone Star and was looking for another one there.
He was, and that was a great shot by Liam Wolf-Talby. Of course, Wexstrom had the wherewithal to get it and corral it in. But now great stuff from Liam Wolf-Talby as he looks for that, as he looks to try to continue his points. But just good stuff there.
That one's wrapped around the boards, comes up. Liam Wolf-Talby had that great shot there. He's been a consistent presence for the Bucks. He's played in 38 game. This is now number 39 of the year for him. Gerhard's got it at his own blue line. Will work it out. Three-player attack. Hoagland over the line. Knocked off the puck into the corner. Grayson comes for help. 8 seconds to go. Willie Tylo plays it out to the blue line, but not out. Here's a chance right out in front as time expires for Gerhard. That's turned aside. And that'll do it for the opening 20 minutes. A slow start to the hockey game, both by pace of whistles and by, of course, the offensive and defensive play. Things settling down. Bugs outshoot the Wranglers 10-4 in that opening 20 minutes.
Love to see that, and I want to talk about what just happened in the last about 10 seconds. Grayson Gerhard was able to get a shot on, and there was a good chance for a rebound there. Again, it's all about creating those opportunities and finding them. Obviously, they didn't find it. That's a good thing to build on as we go into this second period. Zach, and of course, it's the start of the North Caddo Express Lube first intermission show, driven to you by our friends at the North Caddo Express Lube. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25 to get 10% off your order. Once again, that's the discount code MUDBUGS25 to get 10% off your order. And Zach, what services do our friends at the North Caddo Express Lube in Vivian offer?
Well, everything, just about. And I mean that for real. Oil changes, inspection stickers, transmission services, vehicle, key fob batteries. So they do quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Love it, love it.
And as always, we'd also like to remind you that Mudbugs Hockey is brought to you by Porter's Industrial, delivering the difference for Mudbugs Hockey. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, providing for your company. Opening 20 minutes did not yield a goal. We stand where we started, scoreless after one, here on the Mudbugs Broadcast Network.
Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty and flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area, and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage, and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport, or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Back here in Amarillo, no score after the first period. Again, this first intermission report brought to you by our friends at the North Caddo Express Lube in Vivian, offering oil changes, inspection stickers, transmission services, vehicle and key fob batteries. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25 and get 10% off your service. Call 318-375-5823 for more information. Now, as we look at the opening 20 minutes, Duncan, again, I mentioned a slow start to the game. Both teams kind of took a while to settle in, but things have gotten a little bit better. And really, if you're assistant coach Brett Smith, who is the bench boss tonight with Soupy being out, you have to be happy, especially the way that last 6-8 minutes of the first period went on.
Agreed. And I say that because, there's really nothing to say. I agree with that. I mean, if you're Brett Smith, especially making your bench boss debut, you love to see that. And what I was going to say was, we did have a slow period start, but, and this is going to sound really weird, I don't mind slow period starts because there's a lot to build off of that. I know it's weird. Don't get me wrong. You want a quick, fast-paced game. That's the name of hockey. But I'm a guy who likes to see the play develops as opposed to just go, 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 go. I know I always say go, 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 but in that first few minutes when it was slow, I didn't mind it. Now, in saying that, do I want that, if it's still tied up 0-0, third period, 2.5 seconds left? No. But the first few minutes, not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, the first couple minutes, the Bugs, like I said, slow start overall, but they still kind of, controlled the zone play.
That too.
Then back the other way, the first shot for Amarillo came around the, say, 7-minute mark or so 13 minutes or so left. And Hodges made a couple of big saves, which, coming in cold, you've been seeing it out there for a while. He had those couple of really big stops that kept the Wranglers off the board.
Absolutely, of course. Only 4 shots thrown his way, but you know what? As I've seen in a lot of hockey games, including some Mudbugs games, that the shot counts really don't matter. What matters is obviously the goal count. Obviously, we don't have any of those right now, but I've seen teams win games with about 10 shots the whole game. Well, maybe not 10. I think it was like 13 or 14. But no, it's just I think that's all I can really say about it. But on the other end of it, we've got 10 so far, and of course, Casimir Wexstrom for the Amarillo Wranglers is doing his part, stopping 10 of 10. So it's a goaltending effort both ways, even though the shot numbers might not reflect that. I know that sounded a little weird, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's a goaltending effort game so far. So we'll see how that lays. And, of course, penalty-wise, Zach, only 3. Charlie Birchfield with a light conduct. So that was a 4-on-4. And then at 4:46, Owen Case with a tripping of his own. And, well, that's just where we lay, Zach. So, of course, coming up here on this North Caddo Express Loop First Show, Zach, talk to Joe Semango. And I'll put it bluntly, it was a fun interview. I'll put it like that. It was a fun interview to do, Zach.
All righty, well, we'll take a quick time out here in the North Caddo Express Loop First Division show. On the other side, we will hear from Duncan Welker and Joe Semango here on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Welcome back into the North Caddo Express Loop, first intermission show driven by our friends at the North Caddo Express Loop in Vivian. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25 and get 10% off your order. Once again, that's MUDBUGS25. Now joining me is Mudbugs forward number 36, Joe Semango. Joe, welcome back.
Thanks, Duncan. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Joe, speaking of welcome back to the lineup. Of course, you're coming off a undisclosed injury, although now obviously it's since passed. Took a bit of a nick in practice, and recovery time was what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks.
Okay, 3 weeks. And the original plan was to come back at, well, actually in our next-ish home game against Odessa, but we were able to make the recovery in that amount of time and get here to tonight against the Amarillo Wranglers, who the last time we saw them, Friday night, shootout loss. Saturday night, well, that's a game I think we'd all like to forget.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, what's the word of these Amarillo Wranglers from the last time we saw them back in December?
Yeah, I mean, they're a tough physical team. You know, we can't rely on our skill to beat them. We just got to kind of get pucks deep and play our game the right way.
Of course, get pucks deep and beat them. It's kind of a blunt statement, but I think it's true at this point, especially in the season. But Joe, of course, last week we come off a interesting series with the Lone Star Brahmas. Of course, Friday night, a 3-0 win over the Brahmas in North Richland Hills, and then Saturday night, well, like I said, a game we'd like to forget. But, well, some people would like to forget it, but others, I'm just going to leave it there, Joe. So what was the word coming out of the dressing room Saturday night in Lone Star? I know obviously you didn't play, but obviously you were in there during that meeting. What was the word in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough loss. I think we didn't really have our game on that Saturday night, which is, that's the way it goes. It's a tough league. I mean, it's hard to get sweeps in this division. So getting 2 points from the number one team is pretty good. So.
Absolutely. Of course, like I mentioned, we got those 2 points from the Lone Star Brahmas on Friday night. But that is then. Tonight is tonight. Joe, what's your personal game plan coming in tonight against the aforementioned Amarillo Wranglers?
Yeah, I mean, just going to try to use my speed, drive the puck wide, delay, hit trailers, and, hopefully get on the score sheet here.
Absolutely. You definitely want to get on the score sheet. And, yeah. So, Joe, moving away from the side of hockey things, at least for now, what's going on in the non-hockey world of Joe Semengo as we do a lovely interview here in the Sewer Ball action and see some good stuff going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. Lots of doctor's appointments recently, surgeries, so I've been spending a lot of time in the hospital, that's for sure.
All right, and then outside of the hospital?
Yeah. Outside of the hospital, just trying to hang out with the boys. The weather's warming up a little bit, just...
The beauty of Sewer Ball, and apologies for any language that might have slipped through. Nonetheless, Joe, as we reel things back in from the exciting funness of Jeremiah Roberts, I have to ask, Joe, how's everything doing though otherwise?
Pretty good. I'm happy to be back healthy. Still loving it down here. The weather's getting a lot warmer, so that's great.
Of course it is warmer, especially from the last time we were supposed to be at home against, ironically, the aforementioned Lone Star Brahmas. And speaking of that game, we were supposed to wear our Mardi Gras jerseys. And obviously we've seen them, we took pictures, we unveiled them at this point. What's your thought on the Mardi Gras jerseys, Joe?
I like them a lot. It's really cool. We get to have such nice jerseys throughout the whole year, and I'm excited to wear them.
Absolutely. I was about to say, when I talked with, it was the former Mudbug, and I asked him, what are your thoughts on the jerseys? And he said he really likes the detailing of it. I was about to say, are you in that same camp, or do you just like the jersey as a whole as it is?
Yeah, I think the details are really cool. It obviously represents what Mardi Gras is all about, and it's good colors, too.
Oh, yeah. It's the best colors, in my opinion. And, of course, Joe, I'm a big food guy. I think it's a poorly kept secret here amongst the boys. But have you been able to get any of the good food down here, obviously, since you've been down here?
Yeah, I've been enjoying the king cakes. My billets have had king cake on the counter, like, whole Mardi Gras season, so I've been enjoying that.
Oh, yes. Have you found the baby yet?
I haven't got it. No, I haven't got the baby.
You haven't got the baby
nope.
yet? Okay. Well, the season ends on, I believe, Tuesdays, when Fat Tuesday is. So I'll have to check my calendar as we lay things down here, and the fun continues as the football's being thrown around, sewer ball's coming around. That's the beauty of interviews, Joe, isn't it? Of course, the season. So, like I mentioned, Joe, there's still some time for you to get the baby. So, Joe, I'm going to ask you one last thing, and I'm going to let you get going here. As we come into the final few weeks and the final few months of the season, what's the game plan to get us into that fourth playoff spot? Because just as a reminder, the top four teams here in the South Division make the playoffs.
That's right. I mean, we can't have a game where we don't get points. If we're going to drop a game, it has to be in overtime, and we just got to find ways to get points in every game.
Absolutely, Joe. And as I'm watching here, and the pass goes incomplete from, looks like William Alexis Tremblay, it does. So we'll just leave it on that. Joe, thank you for joining us here on the North Caddo Express Loop first intermission show as the Super Bowl comes right into us.
Thank you, Duncan.
Of course. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here on this North Caddo Express Loop first intermission show. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Mudbugs Broadcast Network. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, Just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Show rolls on, brought to you as always by our friends at the North Caddo Express Lube and Vivian, offering oil change, tooth inspection, stickers, transmission services, and vehicle and key fob batteries. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25. That's MUDBUGS25. You get 10% off your service. Call 318-375-5823. As always, if you're playing a group outing for when we're finally back at home next weekend, against the Odessa Jackalopes, you can ask about group rates for those future home games. Groups of 10 or more get tickets for just $10 each. Call 318-636-7094 and book your group today. My goodness, Duncan, how nice it'll be to finally be back at George's Pond.
Oh, gosh. Yes, it will, Zach. Don't get me wrong. The road is nice because you normally wouldn't do back at home. But, man, I miss the Mudbugs atmosphere. I miss the Mudbugs being thrown on the ice. I miss the Route 44s when we score 5 goals, of course. I miss it all, Zach. But in the meantime, got another 40 minutes to play. And before that, let's take a look around the North American Hockey League. Firstly, starting with our friends in the South Division as part of Shreveport Regional Airport First Intermission scoreboard update. Of course, in Odessa right now, the aforementioned Jackalopes. The Ice Raids lead 1-0 off of Nikita Konevich first period goal going into the first intermission there. Oklahoma and El Paso tied all up at 0. Their game gets underway. And I believe that is it for South Division games. Yes, it is. So we're going to move right on into some select games from the rest of the North American Hockey League. Austin Bruins, they trail the North Iowa Bulls 1-0. And then Watertown and Aberdeen, the Wings of Aberdeen lead that one 1-0. Anchorage Wolverines and Minnesota Wild Wilderness, almost said Minnesota Wild, excuse me. Wilderness lead that one 1-0. St. Cloud Northman Bismarck Bobcats 2-1 in favor of the Bobcats, and Kenai River Brown Bears 3-2 in favor of the Brown Bears over the Janesville Jets. Then one other game that is ongoing is the New Jersey Titans. They currently lead 2-1 over the Philadelphia Rebels going into the second period. And one game going final here in the North American Hockey League. The Danbury Hat Tricks 3, the New Hampshire Mountain Kings 2. Before we move on, I want to give a big hello to our Mudbugs insider, Matt Nelson. He's able to share information and news with the rest of Mudbugs Nation across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, well, just about every other platform we got, Zach. So love our main man, our Mudbug insider, Matt Nelson. Getting on back to the scores across the rest of the sporting world now. Let's take a look at some college basketball action. Wisconsin 51, Michigan State 34, SLU 24, LUC. Of course, that is Loyola University Chicago 14. Actually, one game still on the top 25 docket at least. That would be Ohio. That would be the Ohio Bobcats. They take on Miami of Ohio. 24-0 is the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. So interesting stuff, and I'm kind of surprised they're not up a little more higher, Zach. The Red Hawks, they're sitting at 23rd ranked, but I get it in terms of MAC. And Zach, I believe you got something to say on that. I'm kind of
it's crazy. I saw it today on ESPN. The bracket shows are starting, and they projected Miami to be out. Like, how? Yes, I understand their schedule is what it is, playing in the MAC, but they're 24-0.
You got to give them something at least, but I agree. That's interesting on that front. And, of course, no NHL games ongoing as it is Olympic break. So let's look at some of those Olympic games. Canada takes down Sweden 5-1. McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, Macklin Celebrini. Looks like it'll be Harley. It's Thomas Harley, from the Dallas Stars. And then Connor McDavid as both teams now come out onto the ice. One other Olympic score of note, Team USA Women's, they defeat Italy 6-0, and they move on to the semifinal round as both teams now make their way out of the ice. Mudbugs will be shooting from left to right from our vantage point. The Wranglers will be shooting from right to left from our vantage point with 2 minutes here still ongoing in this intermission break. That'll be all for your Shreveport Regional Airport First Intermission scoreboard update. Join me next period for not only your Grant Orthodontics second period in-depth look around the world of sports, time permitting. But what will happen is my conversation with the new man, number 22, Charlie Birchfield. Zach, and looks like both teams are now on the ice. Oh no, there's still a few scragglers from the Wranglers, but don't see Jonah Jasser. At least I don't see him right now. Of course, he went out early back in the first, and so or what happens with Mr. Jonah Jasser, the captain of this Mudbugs team. But 20 minutes down, we got 40 minutes to go, brother. I am excited. I don't know what to tell you, but
absolutely good first period for the Bugs offensively and defensively. The defense was directly leading to offensive chances, and you know they had those couple of ones. They had the odd man rush, which was pushed just wide. A couple of other breakaway chances. So that's just the intensity that they need to play with 18 games 18 games including tonight left to go in the season. Second period, as always, brought to you by our friends at DeFata and Associates, investigative and risk analysis services, personal matters, child custody cases, or internal theft problems at your business. Call our main man Jerry at 318-635-9944 to discuss your case, or log on to defatapi.com. Bugs are back at home the 20th and 21st. Well, actually 2 weeks after that as well. And the big 3-game weekend against Lone Star as the puck is down, and we're back underway here in period number 2 from Amarillo here at the Budweiser bullpen. We'll get an icing call, and actually we want to see washed out right in front of chance. It's Baird who scores. The Bugs forced a turnover off there. They beat out the icing call, and Barzy says, let's do it. He scores a goal, and the Bugs are up 1-0.
Love to see it. Ryan Barrett creating an opportunity off the turnover. Icing was negated. Shot it right past Weckstrom. 1-0 Bugs. Let's go.
I'm going to mention, or I guess hazard a guess, that that'll be the weirdest goal we see this year. We thought was going to be an obvious icing. Turns into a goal. So there you go. That's why you hustle it out, you know. So Barrett gets the goal. That's a big one. Bugs strike first. Not even 20 seconds into period number 2 as they try to avenge their loss last week against Lone Star and start giving us a little bit of insurance in our last playoff spot as Gerhard controls left circle, centering feed right out in front for Tremblay. Couldn't corral it cleanly, and it goes to the wall where it's touched back out of the zone by Amarillo. Up ahead, John Burnt forces a turnover at his own blue line. Burnt up the wing, far side, shoved off the puck. Bounces free to the circles where it's eventually played back out to center ice as Hoagland will go D at the blue line for Mitchell Reed. Reed back out to center ice. Here's Hoagland again. In over the line right side. Dangles around a one defender. Lost the puck, and it's turned back the other way as Azadi will pick it up. Ty Azadi, far side, over the line. Walks down the slot. Centering feed there. Goes wide of the crease and all the way back out to center ice as Amarillo was on a line change. They could not knock it down at center. They quickly come back in. Puck squirts towards the net. Foot race going to be one there and turned around the far side boards again. Picked up to the blue line. Held in that time by Ogle. He'll send it into the corner. Wrapped around the boards for Rasega, the leading scorer. Back up top. Left circle to the blue line it comes. Sent back into the corner. Tracked down. Centering feed there. Goes wide of Gentler's stick as the Bugs got a piece of it. And Hoagland will send it off to left for Tremblay. Back over to the right for Gerhardt. Hits the brakes over the line. His shot goes towards the net. Deflected away in the crease. And eventually tracked down by Gentler, who almost turned it over right there in the corner. Picks it back up left corner. Now works below the goal line to his right. Up the ice, turnover again. Big drive for Roberts. That one's turned aside. Roberts sent it back to the blue line for Owen Case, who pinches and holds in. His shot deflected by Liam Wolf-Talby. Goes off the top of the glass and over top the net. Here's a great chance in front of Roberts. Fired one, streaking right on the doorstep. That one goes up into the netting. The net comes off out of play with just about 2 minutes gone here in the second. As I mentioned, the Bugs are back at home, 20th and 21st. And, well, Duncan, I think our fans can enjoy some pretty sweet deals for that game.
Absolutely. Of course, when we come back on Friday, February 20th, it is God and Goals Night, brought to you by friends at Word of God Ministries. Family 4-pack includes 4 tickets, 4 bags of popcorn, 4 post-game skate passes to the Word of God Ministries concert. Zach, and that's exciting. Of course, you can get that by calling us at 318-636-7094 and use that code FAMILY when getting tickets at ticket.georgespond34.com.
Here's Sakrisky below the goal line, harassed off the puck, and eventually Amarillo plays it back out to center, moving right to left in this frame. They'll dump it down into red tops, the blue pants. Bugs back in the white tops with the specialty jerseys worn by Amarillo. That came out, so that'll be an offside whistle with 17:30. Shots now 12-4 in favor of the Bugs, but again, offensively, they got to the really quick start, and again, rewarded for a goal. We talked about hustle. They out-hustled the icing call, which I thought was going to be an easy icing as soon as it went down, and puck goes right for Barrett, and he took care of business. 1-0 Bugs is the score with 17 and a half to go as it's again tied up off the draw. Bugs go D-to-D in their own zone. Near circle, it's Fremy. Feeds it up the wall for Simons. Around the back check, flips it to the far side. Bugs can't get it out. Burnt knocked off stride. Picked back up by Simons. They'll wrap it around the boards again for Remy. He'll corral it back to center ice. It comes for DiUlio. Got a touch on it, but eventually it's stolen away by Amarillo as the Wranglers will bring it back in over the line left side. Dolan sends a shot on net. Hodges turns out aside. Back of the cage for Burnt. Burnt flips up the wall for Simon, takes a big hit, but Griner immediately comes to help him out. There's that connectedness again as it's sent in back on Hodges, who paddles it aside, and it kind of trickles over to the far corner where eventually Remy picks it up on the near side. Brings it back up the center of the ice for Simons. Through the logo off to his left. Backhanded across for Griner, who's knocked off the puck. And Simons took a stick up high that time as he readjusts everything, and that's going to go all the way down. Icing could be waved off as Amarillo wins the footer race this time. Centering feed could have been dangerous. Nobody was home as the Wranglers run a line change, and Birchfield tries to deke around his own man Griner, but he lost the puck, and it goes on net, where it's picked up by Mitchell Reed. They'll send it back near side for John Burnt. Up the half wall, chipped up into the air off the boards. Griner gets a piece of it, gives it for Mitchell Reed, who fires it all the way down. This is going to be an icing whistle. No race on this one. That's an easy icing with 16-10.
Of course, and as always, Zach, all icings this season are brought to you by our friends at Louder's Baking Company. Once again, that's Louder's Baking Company. And Zach, you mentioned we're back at home next week. Not only did we mention the Friday night family four-pack, but on Saturday night, we got one too. Here's what you get. For $44, you get 4 tickets, 4 popcorn bags, and 4 post-game skate passes. Once again, use the code FAMILY to purchase, and by using that code, purchase them by visiting tickets.georgespond34.com.
Back out to center ice it comes. Another icing whistle. Potentially close footer race. Griner almost got there, but this will be an icing stop at 16:03. And so we have those 2 games against Odessa. The following week, remember, we get extra hockey. It's a 3-banger that weekend. 2 against Corpus Christi, and then Lone Star comes into town for the Sunday matinee at 5 p.m. puck drop there. It's a little bit earlier than normal, being a Sunday game, and then after that, we're back at home yet again for another series. So lots of hockey at George's Pond coming up. We've missed you. It's been so long. It's been a month and a half almost since we've been at home. Our last home game was January 3rd. And that was a fun one.
It was.
Bugs got a big comeback victory 5-3, but they've been gone for a while from George's Pond. Would love to see you back out there again next weekend. So John Burnt controls right circle, fires it up to center ice for Birchfield. He forces a turnover. Charlie lost the puck along the wall, sent it to the middle. Nobody was home, though. It's picked up by Hegarty. Up the far side, flips it ahead. Over the line is Resega. Bouncing puck comes to the right circle. The linesman got knocked down over there. And this one goes flipped up in the air through the crease. Resega tracks it down far corner. Works back up the far wall to the blue line. Almost lost it. Nice move to stay on side. And a big drive for the center point. It's turned aside before it got to the net. Sent back towards the cage. Rebound goes through the crease. And the Bugs will again turn it off defensively. Birchfield shoved right at the edge of the dasher board there. That's always could be an interesting hit with the way everything kind of angles over there. But he's back on his feet off to the bench. And now here comes Amarillo back the other way. 3-on-2. Big drive there. Turned aside by Hodges. Along the wall it goes. 14:55 left to go in the middle stanza. This one. 1-0 to score. The Bugs scored 18 seconds into this period. They now hold a shot total advantage of 12-6. Here Tremblay down the slot. His shot just off the side of the cage. Eventually picked back up by Amarillo. Behind their own net, it's Dolan works off to the far side, flips up the wall to center. Icing is washed out. It was touched by Zach Wilson, I believe that was. And Owen Case will settle it down behind Hodges. Works off to the left. The Bugs look to get the chess pieces set up. Gerhard gets a touch forward at the offensive blue line, but Amarillo will control in their own end. Flipped up the wall far side. They try to start a quick breakout, but Zach Wilson will turn and fire that back to the blue line. And Tremblay had to tag up, and now it goes in over the line for Gerhard. Gerhard tried to feed it back up to the blue line. Nobody was home. Now it's back the other way. Here's Gentler up the near wing. Gentler fires one. Hodges with a stick save. Sends it into the corner. Picked up by Fair that time. Behind the cage, Owen Case comes in help of Zach Wilson as those two, the deep pair out there right now for the Bugs. Trying to work it free. It gets sent around the kick plate far side. Corralled at the point by Raskin. Sent it down low, below the goal line again. Comes back near side again. It's Gentler centering feed there. Turned aside. Goes to the far half wall. Gerhard will pick it up cleanly. Up ahead for Sakriski. Down to slot. Sakriski down to the bottom of the left circle. Centering feed for Trombley. The trailer. The puck goes wide. And everybody goes crashing into the net. Draws the stoppage with 13:36. Another odd man rush for the Bugs. And got a great scoring chance. Just couldn't put it in.
No, they absolutely did. And that was just a wild, wild car crash of an effort. After effort, mind you. And, of course, as the Amarillo netminder gets up and gets his stick back, and the faceoff will stay in the Amarillo zone. But, man, that was just a car crash.
I don't know if you saw it, Duncan. I'm sure you did because you're on Facebook a lot. There's a conspiracy regarding the nets in Amarillo.
I've heard that.
So we've seen a few nets come off thus far here this evening.
Yep.
On both sides. 13:36 left in the second. 1-0 Bugs with the lead. The goal scorer was Ryan Barrett. Big goal for him as Barrett picked up his third of the season. So we'll wait for the net to get back on place, and Wolf Talby will take the draw near side off to netminder's left. As Sakriski gets into position along the near wing along the hash marks, and it's 1-2 him along the wall, but it's eventually tied up, and collision there. It's a couple players go down away from the play as Gentler will flip it up the wall far side. Held in at the blue line again by the Bugs. Now they'll turn it over. Amarillo tries to start the breakout, but again, the Bugs sealed away at center. Dumped in towards the net, just wide of the crease. That'll just barely be icing. Another inch or two to the left, and that would have hit the goalie.
No, absolutely. And I'm not going to lie, from my vantage point, Zach, now, granted, we are a little higher up here in the Amarillo Civic Center complex, but I'm not going to lie, it looked like it just barely, touched the CCM part of Kazimir Weckstrom's pads. Now, granted, being the son of an equipment manager, you see those things from this vantage point, but now I think the referee made the right call there, though.
That's kind of an interesting vantage point we don't see in this league. I mean, well, we're pretty high up at George's Pond. That would be the other exception to the rule. But, yeah, other than George's Pond in here, we're pretty low to the ice most of the time. But, I don't know, it's more fun up here, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of get to see the crowd's reaction a little bit more, which is always fun at George's Pond when the Bugs score. And then kind of see things develop as Jeremiah Roberts rifles this in from the center red line. Comes around the boards near side, up the half wall. As Burnt got a piece of it and forces it down below the goal line again. Up the far side, held in by Roberts. Roberts wraps it around the boards again, comes near side where it's picked up by Hedquist, who will settle it down back of the cage. Good battle going on right on top of the crease with Sakriski. Eventually touched ahead all the way down. Icing is washed out. Hedquist wins the foot race as he splits the D that time. The Bugs get a stick on it along the near wall. Vinny Giulio with a good back check and forces Roberts to play it out to center ice with 12:20 and rolling. Bugs are on a change. Amarillo's got the puck. The Wranglers wrap it around the boards. Comes near side. Lupo got a stick on it, tied up behind the play. Nice play defensively by the Giulio. Comes up right circle, takes a weird hop as it triangulates towards the net. Centering feed right out in the slot. Doesn't connect cleanly, and Jeremiah Roberts will track it down, and he'll play it out, and another icing whistle will stop time with 11:56. So the Bugs are going to be unable to change. Luckily, though, in that sequence, they had quite a few new guys out there on the ice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think Brett Smith was a little confused about how that was icing because I think, and I could be wrong on this, Chase Sakriski touched it before I don't know. But no, I think Smitty's asking, or at least he, in the moment, was asking, but then I think he kind of realized it was icing as the face-off will go off to the left-hand side of Tyler Hodges here. So Vinny Giulio will take that face-off. So good stuff.
Comes up to the blue line. Amarillo fires one. That's turned aside and comes all the way back out as Jeremiah Roberts sends it to the far side for Vinny Giulio and over the line. Down to the bottom of the left circle. Pitchforks it towards the net. The net came off again. But we'll play on as it just kind of barely readjusted itself that time. So we roll on, but Amarillo will play it forward into the offensive end it comes. Wanting a penalty, they're going to get one. So the Bugs penalty kill for the second time today. The holding the stick penalty is called at 11:32 left in period number 2. So they were 1 for 1 on the kill, and they're going to get another one here. And we'll see how things shake out with 11:32 left in the second.
Yep, it looks like it'll be Mitchell Reed going in for once again holding the stick penalty. And I was going to say this about the nets coming off. So the good thing about the way a lot of ice technicians are, they're all very different. Now, back at George's Pond inside Hearst Coliseum for practice, we use the rubber pegs with the spikes in them. They do here at Amarillo, but they use them for both games, practice, pretty much everything. But for games, we use the round rubber pegs with no spikes. You just have to drill through. So maybe there's something to that, though.
Yeah, those are the pegs that work.
Yeah.
Reduces the number of whistles, so we always love that. As Pusateri tries to backhand it out, kept alive by the Amarillo power play unit. Back up top, sent near side again, picked up by Resega. They'll go D to D right there at the blue line, looking for a play. Big drive there, turned aside, and Wolf Talby grabs the rebound, which would have been a juicy rebound, but it goes all the way down as this power play unit for Amarillo. It has struggled this year, 28th in the North American Hockey League at 15.6%. So they have really struggled on a man advantage, but they're moving the puck well so far in this series as a 5-player entry gains a zone, and Owen Case immediately steals it away and slaps it all the way down the ice. But quickly, Amarillo rebounds. Now they'll work back into their own zone, at their own blue line, far side, set near side. Bugs got a piece of it on the back check. Now it's dumped around the boards that time by Azadi, picked up far wall. Back near side, Resega at the hash marks. Lets it go all the way up to the blue line. Just barely held in. Resega gets a piece of it. He'll turn and fire. Back of the net, Owen Case picks it up below the goal line. He's knocked off the puck, though, by Lupo. Lupo flips it up the wall. Bugs will pinch as Owen Case gets it into open ice. And he's going to slap it again all the way down with 40 seconds left to go on the kill.
Beauty. And I'm going to say it again. Beauty with 40 seconds left on the Mitchell Reed penalty for, actually it looks like holding, not holding the stick. Well, that's how it reads on the live stats here on NAHL.com.
So it's turned around the boards that time, and below the goal line it comes again. Adams will pick it up, and he banks it off the board. Does it have enough to get out? It doesn't. Only gets to the top of the circle before Wolf Talby steals it, and then he makes sure to get it all the way down the ice. He slapped that one with good measure that time. With 15 seconds to go, up ahead, brought in over the line right side. Dropped off. Nice play there. Big drive for the circle, and Hodges is up to the task as he stops shot number 9 of the evening for Amarillo with 9:40 to go here in the middle frame.
Able to smoosh himself together to make that save on this first choice personnel penalty kill. Zach, 9 seconds left on the Mitchell Reed penalty. Good stuff there from Tyler Hodges, the Gormley, Ontario native. Zach? So.
You know, where you kind of look at the numbers again, there's power play for Amarillo sitting at 15%. Looks pretty good for a 15% power play. They've had a couple of great chances on the sequence. There's another one right on the doorstep, and it's lifted up over top the net. Ooh, that was a dangerous one there as Reed's out of the box, and Gerhard will come on, and he'll wait at the red line, hoping for a turnover, but instead it goes off a Bug right out in front, goes into the slot. Rebound bounces out for Hedquist at the blue line, held in again by Amarillo. Bugs can't clear. Bottom of the left circle, back up top for Hedquist, snaps it across far side. Drive there is blocked away by Willie, stepping out in front of the net, or in front of the puck rather, as Willie can only clear to the blue line. It's brought in immediately again by Amarillo as they're trying to kind of even up the shot clock here. Now down 12-10 in shots. Now Hoagland back the other way. Hoagland into the slot, rifles one. Comes far side for Willie now. Tremblay below the goal line. Lost the puck. Amarillo picks it back up with 8:50 to go. In the middle frame, skating back 5-on-5. Back of the cage is picked up far side by Landon Poe, the defenseman. Flips it up to center ice. Icing is washed out. They'll say it was touched up on the other side of the red line. Owen Case tries to headband it on the Amarillo change, but it doesn't connect cleanly for Gerhard. Backing over the line, Hoagland was delayed offside. They'll tag up. Amarillo will settle it down below the goal line. 8:27 to go here in the middle frame. Bugs and Wranglers doing battle here tonight. Down the slot. Couldn't corral it cleanly. Rebound comes out in front. Hodges aggressively comes out of the crease, kicks it aside, and Gerhard plays it up to center. What a stop. Bugs bringing in offensive end back the other way, trying to force defense into offense. Roberts along the wall, tried to center it. Nobody was home. Back the other way, Resega tried to kick it to his stick. He's going to win the foot race, but Hodges is out to play it smartly. Wraps it around the boards far side for Wilson. Feeds it up for Sakrisky. Now back for Liam Wolf-Talby. Chips it headed center around the defenseman. He almost won the foot race to it below the goal line, but eventually it's turned out by Amarillo towards the blue line, but not out of the zone. Held in by Wolf-Talby. Sends one towards the net. Roberts will turn and cycle that one around the boards. Foot race for it far side. Reed off the bench. Collides with O'Rourke that time, but O'Rourke can't clear it. Second chance opportunity. Still unable to do it. It goes off the top of the glass and stays in play. Back out to center. Amarillo clears it. Reed throws the body around there, and it goes all the way back for Evan Adams to track it down with 7:20 to go. And things are starting to kind of accelerate here pace-wise for both teams. As it's played back near side, out past the outstretched reach of Adams. He'll send a D-to-D below the goal line, up ahead for Jeremiah Roberts. It doesn't connect, and just barely going to be an icing whistle as Hayden Hedquist, the 6'4 defenseman, wins the foot race, brings us to a stoppage with 7:10.
It does, and of course, Roberts not able to get past Hedquist on the foot race. And fun fact, Zach, I believe I see some representatives from the Roberts clan, a little catty-cornered of us, so it's good to see them again. I believe we saw them back in New Mexico. So
he's got a group of, looks like 6 over there. Big drive right there, flipped up on front of the crease. Hodges keeps it out, and it goes out to center ice. The Bugs get another clear. 7 minutes and rolling here in the middle frame. Good pace of the second period. We're actually overdue by a few minutes for immediate timeout, but our last 2 whistles have been icing calls. So that brings us to where we are with Hedquist. Sends it back of the net. Hodges with his watchful eye as he swivels his head right to left. Comes back up to the blue line. Shot there through traffic. Never got to that. Deflected over to the near half wall again. Picked up eventually by the Bugs as Sikrisky brings it up to center ice. Sikrisky off to his left. Deeks into the slot, and he just barely couldn't corral it. If he had gotten that cleanly, that would have been a great goal for Chase. Here's a big drive for the right circle. Back the other way as Amarillo not letting the Bugs settle in defensively. Lupo, his drive for the hash marks. That's turned aside by Hodges and played up the wall again. Out to center ice it comes. Gotten by Birchfield. Drops it off for John Burt. He'll gain the zone. Fed it to the middle for Semengo. Back for Barrett. Barrett to the bottom of the right circle. Shoved off the puck that time is Burt. Trying to get some help here. Barrett fired one as Birchfield got a tip, and he almost put it in the net. By him, I don't think he tried to tip it towards the net. He just tried to knock it down. You got a great scoring chance now. A scramble for it. Net comes off. Puck goes out to center ice, and we're not going to get a whistle. They'll just readjust the net. So that keeps us rolling on into second period. You know, that first period took about 4 hours, and this goes out of play. That first one took 4 hours. This one's taken about 4 minutes. It's been flying by, and now well overdue with 5:43 left. We'll take a quick timeout. Here in the middle frame, 1-0. Bugs with the lead on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
This is Alexis Tremblay, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Mudbugs Hockey is always brought to us by our friends at Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice of the best pizza in town. 5:43 left, second period, 1-0 Bugs with the lead. And finally, back at George's Pond next weekend against the Odessa Jackalopes. Duncan, tell us how our wonderful fans listening back home can get in on the action.
Absolutely, Zach. Family 4-pack, you love to see it. But this one's a special one. It's Friday night, of course, is Gone and Goals night. $44 using the code FAMILY on tickets.georgespond34.com will get you this. 4 tickets, 4 bags of popcorn, and 4 post-game skate passes to the Word of God Ministries concert, who is partnering with us for our God and Goals night. And then, of course, on Saturday night, same deal, 4 tickets, 4 popcorn bags, and 4 post-game skate passes. Once again, you can use all of those using the code FAMILY, that latter one being for Saturday night's February 21st game, Zach.
Owen Case fires it to the middle. Jared Griner works back into his own end. Griner's he's got nice season going on for him. 10 points thus far. He could get a great shot off the side net there. Wilson will fire the one-timer, and that's stopped. As I mentioned, Jared Griner, his second season technically with the Bugs, only played 1 game in 2024, joining late in the season, but he's played in every game thus far this year. And again, 10 points. He's 3 points against New Mexico a couple of weeks ago. He's really a fun player to watch out there.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad on the year as the shot total now is evened up. For a moment, it was 14-13 in favor of the Wranglers of Amarillo, but no, Griner's having a great season so far in terms of his efforts. But Zach Wilson actually had a heck of a shot, and he had one there.
Yeah, they win it back to him. That's been the new play since Zach Wilson joined the team a couple of weeks ago. Now back up to him at the blue line. Nice move there at the right point. Down to the right circle. Back up top for Gerhardt. Gerhardt center point drives one. That's turned aside. Grayson will track it out again along the half wall. Played down with a high stick. by Amarillo. Now Gerhard turns and fires one. I don't think the Bugs ever got a piece. It should have been a high stick, but he got a shot out of it, so we'll take it. Back the other way, Amarillo brings it in onside. Down the slot, stole away, defensive end by the Bugs. They'll flip it on the quick breakout. Nice play for Gerhard. Gerhard centering feed for Hoagland. He just couldn't corral it cleanly. Just off the edge of his outstretched stick, and he bodies up a man there as he stands tall and avoids the check and gives a little reverse love back the other way as it's romped around the boards by Amarillo, and Owen Case is going to win the icing race, I guess. But, wow, okay, 4:21 left. Ozone draw coming up for the Bugs. Can't complain to have a draw in the offensive zone.
Yeah. And that shot by Grayson Gerhard, actually, Zach, the one we thought was high sticking, it actually went into the equipment of William Alexis Tremblay like this. So literally, when Grayson shot it from the Austin Hose logo right down there in front of us, it went into the pants of William Alexis Tremblay, and it shook out of him, so that was interesting to see.
Always adventure in the North American Hockey League, one way or the other. It's batted in from center. 4:10 to go, second period. 1-0 the Bugs with the lead, and a big collision there as the Wrangler blew a tire in the corner and went down. And then Wolf Talby had to jump over top of him to avoid checking him. Back at center ice, back the other way. Brought in over the line, right side. Shot there, deflected, up into the netting and out of play for another whistle with 3:52 left here in the second period. Shots 14-14. Again, it was 10-4 Bugs at the end of the first, so Amarillo started to get some chances, trying to wake the offense up, but the Bugs are on top right now. They've had no shortage of chances either in the second frame.
Absolutely. Both teams have had their chances, and of course we had that first chance early back in the first, about, gosh, almost 18 seconds into the second. Brain's not braining, Zach, but good stuff there though so far from both teams.
And big goal for Ryan Barrett. As Birchfield gets taken down trying to split the D. Amarillo will control back in their own end, up the near side wall for Fair, back out to center. Gentler brings it over the line, feeds it far side for Bennett, who chips at it, and it's just barely held in. Far side point as it bounced free for Ogle. Back of the net, it's played. Defensive end for the Bugs. Sakriski waits for it at the half wall and played up to center ice. Birchfield being harassed off the puck, lost at the blue line. Back out to center. Barrett picks up, waiting for Birchfield to get back on side. Now just drop it back to his defenseman at the own blue line, and now it's rifled in there for Mitchell Reed. 3:10 to go and rolling in this quick-moving second frame. 1-0 the Bugs with the lead. Again, Barrett had to go 18 seconds into the period after the icing call was raced out. All the way back up to the blue line. Burnt will pinch and hold in. Far half wall. Sakriski also coming in for some help. Chipped up in the air, and it comes just barely out to center ice as the Wranglers will play it forward from that center logo, and that's Koval who has to give it away. Now here comes Barrett on a breakaway. The Bugs caught Amarillo on a change, and now we're going to get a penalty. Not going to be a penalty shot, as it was not a clear enough breakaway, but Barrett draws the penalty. So he gets the goal, then he gets a breakaway, and he draws the penalty. I'll take that performance.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And looks like I see a 9, and I see an 8, so I believe that'll be, unless I'm losing my mind on that. No, I am not. That is one number 39, excuse me. Jake Thornton with the hooking penalty there. So,
and he's John at the Bugs bench. I'm not sure what that's all about. Yeah. It's been a pretty calm game thus far. There's not been any fireworks.
Not yet.
We've had enough of those in the last few weeks.
Yep.
2:43 left, second period. Bugs go to the first man advantage of the game for them. Amarillo has had 2. Bugs have been successful on the kill both times. Bugs power play comes in at just about 18%. And the penalty kill for Amarillo comes in 31st in the North American Hockey League at 75%. That's an offside whistle. Stops time with 2:27 left and minute 44 to go on a man advantage. But this is Bugs power play has been much improved. When I joined the team at the beginning of January, we're sitting at 15%. Now we're sitting just shy of 18. So they've started to kind of get that power play unit kind of meshing a little bit better lately.
Yeah, not too bad from the Scott Powerline power play effort, Zach. And Jared Greiner actually took a bit of a whack to his shin pads. It looks like he's up and good to go, and he took it before the offsides was called, but he's up and good to go.
So Gerhard wraps it around the boards, comes for Roberts. Goaltender without of his net to play it, and Sakriski cut down the slot. Almost had a scoring chance. That was a oddly developing play over there. And now a giveaway right out in front. Shot there. It's turned aside as Gerhard tried to leave it off for his defenseman, and the Wranglers were waiting to cherry pick it. And that was close. Almost tied it up as Versega will pick it up at his own blue line. Looks for a play, drops it back to his D-man, settles it below the goal line, and fires it all the way down. And the Wranglers will send a few players off for a change, and the Bugs will corral it back of their own net, and they'll go off for some changes on the power play for another minute and 5 seconds. Up ahead, it's Wolf Talby. Gains the zone. Down to the bottom of the left circle. Hits the brakes. Tried to hit Gerhardt at the point. Nobody was home, and it goes all the way down for John Burnt to pick it back up at his own blue line. Almost gave it away again. Bugs getting sloppy defensively. Chance right out in front. Turned aside by Hodges, and that's going to be a penalty. A slashing call upcoming, but again, we talked about it a few times last week. That's a penalty. You're okay with give it up there. You give the puck up right into the slot. A breakaway chance the other way. Just take the penalty.
Yeah, it's a necessary evil as Johnny Burnt goes in for a slashing. But, man, that's just... It's, like I said, it's a necessary evil, but it's a disheartening one because, well, I say disheartening, except for the 2 turnovers that happened in the zone. But, man, that's just disheartening to see the Scott Powerline power play not be finished.
Yeah, so it'll be 4-on-4 for 47 seconds. And now a giveaway by the Amarillo Wranglers. Here's Tremblay into the zone. Dodges the check. Nice move there for Willie. That smaller stature for Willie allows him to make some moves a lot of other players can't. So dodges the check that time. Eventually lost the puck, though, as Dolan will settle it down. There'll be an abbreviated power play for Amarillo after the 4-on-4 expires with 25 seconds to go left on Thornton's penalty. Minute 4 to go in period number 2 as Amarillo not in any hurry right now, trying to kill off the rest of the 4-on-4 and get to their power play. At the blue line, they almost give it away again. Offensive end they control. Right circle. Owen Case with a good back check. Into the corner it goes. Picked up there by Hedquist. Hedquist back to the blue line. Shot sent just wide. Comes back near side for Gentler. Gentler spins off a check. End up losing the puck anyway. Now it's a minute and 7 seconds on the power play for Amarillo as Thornton heads out of the box. It's cleared down. Nice heads-up play by the Bugs to realize they were on the kill in the middle of his segment and fire it all the way down with no icing. 27 seconds to go. Second period. Bugs up 1-0 on the kill for another 50 seconds. All the way down. Brought in onside just barely by the Wranglers. Looking for a play. They'll cycle it back up to the blue line. Far point comes near side for Versega. Versega toes the blue line into the slot. Drops it off. Big shot deflected away from the net in front, and Hodges never even had to get a piece of it. The Wranglers steered it away themselves. Shot comes back up to the blue line. Held in by Raskin. Raskin fires. Drive right at the buzzer. A big scramble for it is all heck. Thankfully, it does not break loose as Griner was going after a man there and got an injured Wrangler right at the end of that time. Slow to get up that time is 93. That's Hegarty, but he's back to his feet. And an interesting end to the second period.
Yeah.
So 4-on-4 becomes a short kill for the Bugs. They successful thus far. There's still 28 seconds on the other side of the intermission for the Wranglers on the power play. But the Bugs get that early first period goal. Things kind of change a little bit as Amarillo starts to get a little bit of an upper hand offensively midway through the frame. Shots are now 18-15 in favor against the Wranglers. But Hodges being big in net, and the Bugs have a 1-0 lead after 2.
And, of course, as Charlie Birchfield jabbers against the Amarillo Wranglers, I think he's almost found his place in the South Division. And, of course, I talked to him earlier today as part of the Sonic Drive-In Second Intermission Show, which actually starts right now, but talked to him as part of it, and he was telling me that this division is definitely a lot different from where he came from with the Aberdeen Wings, and it's just – and he's a good kid, too. And he also actually has a really good connection with one of the Amarillo Wranglers, number 27, Cruz Smith, defenseman. He got him – Cruz Smith did. He got him into this, like, meditation, music. I don't know. He explains it better than I do. Of course, we'll have to listen to that in my conversation with him. But, of course, that'll be a little later on here on this Sonic Drive-In Second Intermission Show. Zach, as for this game, 1-0 in favor of the Bugs. 28 seconds left on the Johnny Burnt penalty. Of course, that'll be interesting to see where we lay when we come back.
Then it'll be a big kill for the Bugs. And again, successful on 2 prior tries. Need one more to kind of push them over the edge there on 3 for 3, hopefully, on the penalty kill to hold on to the 1-0 lead, hang into the third period. But first, the Sonic Second Intermission Report is on the other side here at the Bugs Broadcast Network.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Hey, this is Tyler Hodges, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Second intermission report tonight brought to you as always by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. This is how we Sonic. So 40 minutes in the books, Duncan. Bugs had a rough game last week on Saturday. Looking much better here tonight.
Absolutely. Both, really all the cores, the offensive cores looking really good, defensive cores looking good. Although they did hit a bit of a stumble in that second period. But nonetheless, it's a definite improvement from last Saturday night there in North Richland Hills, Texas. But the biggest thing is now these next 20 minutes that come up, can we keep it? And I say that because the last time we were in this building on a Friday night against the Amarillo Wranglers, the final score ended up being 2-1 in favor of the Wranglers, which led to a shootout. Of course, the goal was scored by Alphonse Gentler. Of course, that is back all the way in December. That's back in 2025. But we don't want a repeat of that. We already saw a repeat of one game scenario in Lone Star, but that was a good positive one. So basically what I'm saying is keep it going. I know it was kind of weird to get to the point, but basically just keep it moving. Offense is looking good. Defense is looking decent with some stumbles, but you know what? Doing all right. And, of course, Tyler Hodges. Well, he's Tyler Hodges. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, you know, the defense has played well, leading to some offensive chances. We were talking about it during the break, Duncan. And a couple turnovers at the blue line right in front of Hodges. It kind of got a little bit dicey there for a moment. But overall, again, they're playing connected. What I love to see is not only are you making defensive plays, but your defensive plays are leading into your offense. And that is, of course, even better defensively. But nonetheless, we'll take a quick timeout. And on the other side, you'll sit down with a newcomer, Charlie Birchfield, who is slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite players to watch out there. He's found his home in Mudbugs country as the Sonic Second Intermission Show rolls on the Mudbugs Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of yours. Shreve looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else? Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. Welcome back to the Sonic Drive-In second intermission show, delivered to you by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. Sonic Drive-In, this is Allie Sonic. Now joining me is Mudbugs forward, number 22, Charlie Birchfield. Charlie, welcome in.
Thank you.
Of course, I want to be the first to welcome you, well, to the South Division. I think I was one of the first to welcome you to the South Division when you came in last week, the Lone Star. Speaking of which, last week we come off a split series against the Lone Star Brahmas, a 3-0 win on Friday night, and then, well, now the less said about Saturday night when you came in, the better. But of course, that was your welcoming to the South Division. Of course, coming over here in a trade from the Aberdeen Wings. So, Charlie, thoughts on last Saturday night and your welcoming to the South Division?
You know, it's a little bit of different style of hockey. It's a lot more physical, and you know, but you know, I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. So,
yeah, of course, yeah, it is physical, and that's why a lot of the time, especially on one of the more reputable news sources of the entire league, if you know, you know. That's why I call it the Dirty South. But moving along, Charlie, we have this weekend here against the Amarillo Wranglers. Now, last time we were here, of course, you were still in Aberdeen at the time. The last time we saw you, these Amarillo Wranglers were back in December. Of course, the first game on that Friday night was a shootout loss against these Wranglers. And then Saturday night, well, from my perspective of things and from all the vets here, I think we'd rather forget about that game. But Charlie, what's the word coming out about these Amarillo Wranglers from Coach Soupy and Smitty to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we got to get some points here. You know, we're kind of coming near the end of the season, so every point's kind of crucial. So we're just hoping to come out of here. Our goal is to come out of here with 4 points.
Absolutely. Now, Charlie, tell me your hockey story. Tell us how you got right here to Amarillo, Texas, as a member of the Shreveport Mudbugs. Basically, just tell us how you got started.
Yeah, so I graduated high school in Brighton, Michigan, and signed a tender to the Northeast Generals in the East Division. Played half my season there before I got traded to Aberdeen. Finished my season that way up until last week, where I got traded at the deadline. And now I'm in Shreveport, and you know, everything's been pretty great so far, so I'm liking it a lot.
Absolutely, and of course, as we're going to do, we got some sewer ball players, Jeremiah Roberts and Johnny Burnt. Speaking of Johnny Burnt, Top Prospects Tournament, Johnny Burnt, of course, he'll be playing on Team South. Of course, that'll be next weekend. Make sure you tune in on NATV. But moving along, Charlie. So, tell us how you grew up playing hockey.
My dad just kind of put me on skates around 4 or 5 years old, and you know, I fell in love with the game. I was always excited to go to practice. So, you know, seeing that, my dad kept taking me, and you know, kept progressing me to play hockey, and you know, I've just been playing ever since a little kid.
Yeah. So basically, well, it's not as funny as I want to make it out to be. So he basically just put you on skates, and you just loved it from the start.
Yeah, he decided we're gonna go play hockey, and I was like, okay, what's that? And just took me to practice and started playing hockey, and I've loved it since.
Awesome. That is awesome. I think a lot of kids can relate to that when they grow up playing hockey. I mean, I can relate to that, but enough about me, Charlie. On to you, and moving away from the hockey side of things, what's going on in the world of Charlie Birchfield outside of hockey?
Right now, I'm just kind of working towards getting my pilot's license before I go home for the summer. Typically start around 8 and end around noon. You know, I'm a busy guy. I just kind of like to stay active, so I just kind of started doing it again this year.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, I think almost every guy I've interviewed here can tell you that not everything has to have a cool story. I mean, sometimes you just know.
Yeah.
You know. But moving alongside Charlie, who you staying with, billet-wise?
Mark Weldon.
Weldon's good people.
Yep.
People. Of course. And how are they treating you?
They're great. Unbelievable billet parents. Couldn't be happier there. They've been really supportive so far, and I've only been there for a few days, so I'm really happy.
Good. And do you have any roommates with you?
Just their son and his son's friend right now. So.
Gotcha. Well, Charlie, I'm going to ask you two more things. I'm going to let you get going.
Okay.
First being, what's your playlist look like? What's your playlist look like if you're a big music guy?
Oh.
I'm curious now. You'll have.
Yeah.
Is he still with Amarillo, or did he get traded?
He's still at Amarillo.
Who is it?
Number 27, Crew Smith.
Bruce Smith. All right. Well, we'll have to look out for him then.
Yeah.
All right, Charlie. One last thing, and I'm going to let you get going here. So, of course, it is it's actually going to be the tail end of the Mardi Gras season coming up here shortly, here in Shreveport, and really here in Louisiana, of course, all across the world that celebrates Mardi Gras and Carnival season. You ever celebrated Mardi Gras before coming here?
I've not. I've actually never heard of it until I got here, yeah.
Okay. Well, Charlie, I was about to say, has there been any interesting foods you've had here in Shreveport?
No, I haven't really tried anything yet. I just kind of got settled in, and
Yeah.
I got settled in on Wednesday, and then we left on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say, is there anything you're looking forward to tasting?
everybody says the seafood's good, so I'm excited to try that.
Okay. Any particular seafood or just?
No, and crawfish people say are good, and so.
And yeah, and believe me, there's a ton of places to get crawfish around in Shreveport. Well, Charlie, this is the last question. Favorite NHL team, favorite NHL player, and are you excited about the Olympics?
Favorite NHL teams, the Detroit Red Wings. Of course, I grew up in Michigan.
Nice.
My favorite player is Matthew Tkachuk. Just love the way he plays, and yeah, I've been watching a little bit of the Olympics. Haven't actually gotten to watch any of the hockey games besides the U.S. game, but just been watching a lot.
And you a big curling guy?
No, it's just been what's on when I sat down to watch TV.
Okay. You know what? Nothing wrong with that. And speaking of Team USA, they actually defeated Team Latvia 5-1. So that was, of course, that's pretty fun for all Americans involved. Well, Charlie, thank you for joining us here on the Sonic Drive-In Second Race Show. Good to talk to you, buddy.
You too.
And good to get to know you.
Thank you.
Of course. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, we'll be back with more here on the Sonic Drive-In Second Race Show. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on ATV and the Mudbugs Broadcast Network.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
To the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Second intermission report brought to you by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. This is how Sonic continues on. And before we look ahead to the third and final 20 minutes of the hockey game, here with the Bugs leading 1-0, let's take a look now at our out-of-town scoreboard.
Thank you, Zach. It's now time for your crowd orthodontic second period intermission in-depth look around the world in sports, and it's actually going to be an abbreviated one. We're going to look at the South Division, parts of the rest of the North American Hockey League, and, well, some rest of sporting world scores. Let's go into the South Division first. Corpus Christi and Odessa tied 1-1 after a tied-up goal from the Jackalopes. Of course, here in Amarillo is 1-0 in favor of the Bugs, so good stuff there. El Paso and Oklahoma tied up 0-0, just going into the second period there. And that is it for South Division action, actually. So, interesting stuff there. So, into the rest of the North American Hockey League. New Jersey 3, Philadelphia 1. Maine trails the Rochester Junior Americans. Actually, that game just ended, so 4-1 in favor of the Rochester Junior Americans. So, moving along here. The Mallards of Minnesota 4, Minot, the Minotauros 3. So, and one final game of note from the rest of the North American Hockey League. Springfield Junior Blues 3, Fairbanks Ice Dogs 1. Now let's take a look at the rest of the sporting world scores. Of course, it's Olympic time, but in the main sporting world, it's also the NBA All-Star weekend. Of course, tonight was actually the Celebrity All-Star game. Taco Fall, former Boston Celtic and Cleveland Cavalier, put up some interesting numbers for a celebrity game. Not going to lie, but that's a little bit of a ringer type deal, but I'll move on from that. Nonetheless, though, Olympic-wise, let's look at some Olympic scores. Canada 5-1 over Switzerland. Czechia 6-3 over France. Slovakia 3-2 over Italy, the host. So Good stuff from the Italian men's team there. Of course, the Italian women's team did not fare as well. 6-0 went to Team USA. They move on to the semifinals. And, of course, Finland 4-1 over Sweden. And then college basketball action. There's actually a lot of games going on, but in terms of top 25, Wisconsin 87, Michigan State 10 with 2:39 in the second half. So unless miracle happens, looks like the Badgers are going to upset the Spartans, the number 10 ranked Michigan State Spartans. SLU taking on ULC. Of course, that's St. Louis. The Billikens taking on the Loyola Chicago Ramblers, 60-42 in favor of the Billikens. So, later one final game in top 25 action. Number 23, Miami of Ohio leads at half. Ohio, the Bobcats, 43-35. So, that'll pretty much wrap things up on this front of the Graph Orthodontics second period intermission. In-depth look around the world, and Zach Grant will get you started for this third period action. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Mudbugs on Broadcast Network. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area, and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage, and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Are you looking for the perfect place to host your next event? Whether it's a birthday party, corporate get-together, school trip, or any private celebration, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum has you covered. From ice-level excitement to unforgettable memories, your group will have an experience like never before. Start planning your next event today. Call 318-636-7094 to book your private outing at George's Pond.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantle and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Hey fan, this is Alexis Tremblay, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Walker. Now let's get back to the action. Let's go, Bugs.
Alrighty, Zach Grant back with you here in Amarillo, Texas, as the Bugs lead the Wranglers 1-0 after the early second period goal for Ryan Barrett. Just 18 seconds into the frame, his third of the season. Put the Bugs up on top, 1-0. Shots 18-15 in favor of Amarillo. They outshot the Bugs 13-5 in that middle frame after the Bugs outshot the Wranglers 10-4 in the opening 20 minutes. Just a couple of penalties either side. Nothing too crazy. There hasn't been too many fireworks. It's been a relatively calm game by North American Hockey League South Division standards, but nonetheless a exciting game thus far tonight here in Amarillo. Bugs up 1-0 over the Wranglers. Again, things are being critical at this point in the year. Just 17 games remain after tonight's matchup, and the Bugs currently sit in that 6th place spot, just a few points ahead of 7th, which would knock them out of the playoffs. So everything is critical here tonight. Every point matters coming on with the final 18 games of the season. Bugs back at home next weekend. Actually, a couple of games at home. Next weekend, February 20th and 21st, God and Goals night on Friday, Claws and Paws on Saturday. Both those games against the Odessa Jackalopes. And then, following that, that'll be a big series too, because the Bugs are currently a point, or actually tied at 41 points with Odessa. So that is going to be a critical series for the Bugs. We need everybody to come on out to George's Pond. Enjoy your time with us and It's so nice to be back home. Our last home game was January 3rd. That is a much longer time away from home than anybody would have wanted, but nonetheless, George's Pond, we will be returning shortly. Then after that, it's a 3-game weekend. Corpus Christi comes into town February 27th and 28th. Friday, Saturday night, 7-11 puck drop as always. And then the final game of that weekend will be against the well-hated Lone Star Brahmas. No love lost in that series, and we'll see the Brahmas again. 2 more games, not together though. Again, Sunday the 1st. That part of those rescheduled games from Snowmageddon, followed by the March 14th. That's a Tuesday night affair against Lone Star coming up in a few weeks there. And then finally, the Bugs are back at home for a 3rd week after that. So plenty of time at home to catch your Bugs before they hit the road. Again, 18 games remain in the schedule, including tonight's matchup here against the Wranglers. Just about set to go. Bugs and Wranglers back out there on the ice. Bugs will skate right to left in his 3rd and final frame. The lone goal thus far scored by Ryan Barrett, his 3rd of the season. That is where we stand. 28 seconds left on the power play for Amarillo that carried over from the end of the 2nd period. That penalty to Owen Case for slashing. So, well, it's actually John Byrne, although they have Owen Case marked down on the live stats. But it is Johnny Byrne. Nonetheless, the puck is down, and away we go for the final 20 minutes. Immediate shot on net. Goes off of Tyler Phillips. It's ramped around the boards, back out to center ice. Dumped back in by Amarillo. Icing is washed out. Bugs track it down. Up ahead, Wolf Talby. They tried to hit him on a headband pass, but it was tipped away from him. So it works the same as a clear. So we'll take that as well. Bugs on the kill for another 5 seconds. One last rush for Amarillo. Wranglers bring it in left side. Sent back near side for Hegarty, who fires one that's turned aside. Owen Case in the corner. Plays it away, and John Burt is out of the box. Back out to center ice. It comes for Vinny DiUlio. Goes past his outstretched stick. Amarillo picks it back up at center. Barrett tracks it down, sticks it back into his own zone. Semengo controls along the left side. Joe Semengo knocked off the puck as he sandwiched hit as he tried to streak down the slot. Amarillo plays it back up to center ice where it's picked up by Mitchell Reed. Barrett gets it back. He takes a check into the bench. Up ahead it goes, and won by Charlie Birchfield. Birchfield wraps up to the far side wall, up to the blue line. Back down low for Charlie, who snipes one, which is turned aside. He got a shot off an off angle there, and Ryan Barrett will also come and help in defense after the whistle with 18:56. Another successful kill for the Bugs, and good penalty kill uniform. 3 for 3 thus far today, but 2 more shots go on the Amarillo total. They're now out shooting the Bugs 20-15. Let the Bugs have that 1-goal lead with 18:56 to go. Be back in action here tomorrow night, 7:14 puck drop here in Amarillo. Be on the air right around 7 o'clock. Be sure to join us on NATV or, as always, on YouTube. Thanks for everybody tuning in with us tonight. Amarillo has the defensive end. They'll wrap it around the boards far side. Flipped out to center ice. Picked back up by Roberts, who takes a check as he lifts the puck down length to the ice. Played back of the cage. D-to-D they go. They play catch below the goal line. Picked back up to center ice by Ethan Ogle, the 6'3 defenseman. Up ahead, they've got a great chance down the slot. Big stop. Now we're going to get a cross-checking penalty coming up against the Bugs. And they're going to go back to the penalty kill after a dangerous 2-on-1. Zach Wilson made the play defensively. Sends a little bit of a cross-check. And a 4th penalty kill opportunity now for the Bugs. It's actually Roberts who sits down, not our man there. So there we go. 2-minute penalty upcoming with 18:28 left to go. Big kill again for the Bugs, trying to hold on to that 1-goal lead. It's been a stingy offensive game for both teams. They had some struggles settling in early, and then the goaltenders have been pretty good thus far. Not a lack of trying for anybody. They've got the wrong player listed up there on the board. They have Griner listed. It's actually Roberts who's sitting, but nonetheless, the Bugs are sure-handed as Amarillo sends a shot off the draw that gets turned aside off the top of the glass far side. Wrapped around the boards, comes near side to the hash marks. Rasiga behind the cage, leaves it off this time for Lupo. Lupo cycles back up to the blue line. Center point goes up past the outstretched stick of a Wrangler that time. Griner comes in on defense. Tied up along the near side half wall. Back out to center, delayed offside, and that's going to be a whistle, and we'll see where they put the face off. And now our assistant coach doing the coaching duties tonight, Brett Smith, talking to the referee as he saw, I think that was Sakrisky that time, or Semengo rather, got harassed in the corner away from the puck, but No penalty call there. Bugs will stay shorthanded for another 93 seconds with exactly 18 minutes to go here in the third period. Want to remind you, this third period is always powered by Delta Utilities. Know what's below? Call 811 before digging any project. Delta Utilities. Know what's below. All the way back down. Wranglers will track it down in their own end. Over Hegarty. Far side. Drops it off at his own blue line. Wranglers back in over the line left side. Lupo dangles back of the cage. Tried to center it. Nobody was home as it's turned aside by the Bugs. Wrapped around the far side and all the way down the ice. Great clear as it just kind of rolled right along the top of the dasher boards that time. The Bengals replay it. Kurtai up the middle. And over the line left side. Remy got a piece of him. Forces the puck into the corner. DiUlio ties it up in his skates. He gets tripped up there. Wranglers eventually control below the goal line, working around. Nice deke that time by Dolan. Tried to cycle it back up top. He gets it to the blue line. Comes near side for Gentler. Snaps it back across. Dolan one-time drive wide of the net. Goes off the back of the cage. Hodges never saw that. Bounces back up to the blue line for Gentler. Slides back across left side. A giveaway. And here come the Bugs on the attack. In over the line comes Birchfield. He's taken down, and there's no penalty call upcoming. As Brett Smith behind the bench as Birchfield gets cross-checked away from the play. Charlie had a great chance there until he got tripped. Nonetheless, puck played behind the net by Amarillo. Far side and wrapped around the boards as they couldn't get to the point man and Cruz Smith. Their 6'1" defenseman will have to track it down. Wranglers touch back up. Now it's eventually cleared down by the Bugs, and that's going to be a successful kill. The kill now 4 for 4 for Shreveport in this game against Amarillo as the Wranglers try to come back. They're trailed by 1 with 16:20 to go. Tremblay in over the line right side. Centering feed. Big one-time blast that time from Hoagland. Goes off the side of the net and comes back to the near side. Amarillo starts it back on the breakout far side. In over the line. Trying to go around John Burnt. Puck handler there. Goes off the side of that. Deflects over now to the near wall. Slides back up to the blue line. Wraps around the boards into the left corner. Owen Case in a footer race, but Azadi's going to win it. Azadi centering feet there. Gets turned aside. Gerhard races after loose puck. Finds the escape valve and clears it down. This is going to be icing, though, with 15:49 left in the third. Shots 22-15 in favor of the Wranglers. Nonetheless, the Bugs with another successful kill. They hold on to the 1-goal advantage, but they're going to have a defensive zone face-off here. Bugs are winless this year against the Wranglers. 0-3-1. Last meeting was not a great one. Beginning of December against the Wranglers, 7-2 victors that time for Amarillo. And I'm sure the Wranglers, I was talking to some of their staff before the game, are happy to not see the Oklahoma Warriors this weekend. It was a weird kind of scheduling pattern, if you will. They played 4 straight games against Oklahoma. 2 on the road last weekend, and then the prior 2 at home in this one. 8 teams in the division, and you see the same team 2 weeks in a row. But that's just sometimes how the schedule shakes out. They split both weekends for a 2-2 overall mark as Tremblay had it at center, but the Wranglers steal it back for the bench, immediately getting in the way of a couple of Wranglers as the puck squirts up to the blue line, and here come the Bugs back the other way quickly. In over the line is Hoagland. Hoagland fires, goes towards the net. His shot is stopped. It's going to be played out. Odd decision that time comes up ahead as Adams will knock somebody down. It's going to be an icing whistle on Amarillo at center ice with 15:10 to go in the third. It comes all the way back down. Offensive zone draw coming up here for the Bugs. Good showing of Bugs fans out here this weekend in Amarillo. Got the Roberts family watching across from us, top of their section. So some Mudbugs purple a little bit earlier on as well. In the corner, it's flipped out of zone by Amarillo. Going to be another icing whistle upcoming. So that'll stop time, bring it all the way back down to 15:03 here in this third period. As get the Bugs trying to hang on to this 1-goal advantage. 15 minutes to go here in Amarillo. Points at a premium as we hit the final 18 games of the season. Face-off comes far side. Offensive zone draw for the Bugs. Wolf Talby wins it to the wall, but Semengo has it stolen away, and Amarillo will flip it off the top of the glass and out to center ice. Picked up by Mitchell Reed. Feeds it forward for Roberts. Roberts streaks down the slot, but lost the puck eventually, and Amarillo will start the breakout out of their own blue line. Wolf Talby delivers a big hit there. Liam's been throwing the body around the last couple of weeks. Bugs bring it back, offensive end. Sakriski feeds it to the circle. That shot turned aside. Flipped over to the near wall. To the left circle it goes for Mitchell Reed. He's got it pinned against the boards in his skates. Centering feed for Sakrisky, broken up, but Wolf Tall before turnover. Back for Sakrisky, waiting on the far doorstep. Tried to poke it in back door, but it's turned aside and flipped out to center ice by Amarillo. This takes a weird hop, and it's going to be enough to go all the way down for icing. A great chance that time for Sakrisky, just couldn't poke it home. And Chase has had a great offensive season the last couple of weeks here. He's got 7 goals, 7 assists for 14 points. Now Chase, he's played 27 games this year, but he missed a bunch of games at the beginning of the year. He's played every game since November 22nd, and that streak continues with his appearance here this evening. It's eventually controlled by Amarillo on a D-zone draw, and another icing whistle, so we're going to do it again. We had this lack of flow early on in the game, and it's continuing here early in the third period. Sakrisky had 3 points a few weeks ago at New Mexico, a goal and 2 assists. And he has, as I mentioned, 7 goals on the year. 3 of those 7 came in January. But he's a kid that can score. Go back to his high school days back in 2024. Sakrisky played at Forest Hills High School. This is not a typo, I promise you. 85 points in 17 games in high school, and this is going to be cleared down for yet another icing whistle with 13:59. So Sakrisky can score. We love seeing the offense there, and got a great chance that time. This one comes all the way back down, and we're back to the slow crawl of a hockey game here early in the third period. 13:59 left. Couple of icings back and forth for Amarillo. Now the Bugs get another offensive zone draw. The newcomer, Charlie Birchfield, will kind of quarterback all the chess pieces. In to take the draw left side. He goes down to a knee, and Amarillo eventually wins it. Owen Case tried to backhand it in, but it goes back the other way. Here's Bennett down the slot, fires one, and Hodges will step in front of it and watch it into the Bugs, written across his chest, and hang on for a whistle with 13:50 left in the third.
So after 3, possibly 4 consecutive icings, a nice stop like that. You know what? I won't complain about that. It's Tyler Hodges doing his job. Now, the icings, yes, they very much had a slow crawl, but I'd rather take a Tyler Hodges stop than 4 consecutive icings back to back to back to back.
I think there were 4. I lost count, so I'm going to believe you there. We'll go with 4.
Yep.
So the center gets thrown out of the draw. That's Lupo, which is interesting. Lupo, 6'2", 195, not your typically sized center, but nonetheless gets it done for Amarillo. And he's had a nice season, 13 points for him thus far. Bugs will play it up ahead to the blue line, in over the line. Birchfield centering feed that time, and man, oh man, he plays with a lot of heart out there. I know we're 2 games in, but more time on these lines and the more practice times, he could be a big impact player for the Bugs. It is controlled now by Amarillo. Behind their net, it's O'Rourke. O'Rourke sides it across back near side in the corner, flipped up ahead to center. Back the other way, all the way down. Pusateri picks it back up. Remy behind the cage, changes direction, lost the puck. Still whacking at it, though. 4-car pile up in the corner, goes for John Byrne. Byrne up the far side wall, starts the breakdown with a long stretch pass over for Hoagland. Goes off the edge of his stick, but coming to help him out is a centering feed right out in front. Byrne rifles when it goes off the crossbar. Willie tried to turn and fire one time, but that one's turned aside. Remy with a big drive. Now it's again Hoagland on the goal mouth. His drive stopped, and what a couple of chances there for the Bugs. But they can't get it over the goal line, and it stays a 1-goal game.
So, last time, I know I keep dwelling on the past, which is funny because I'm the 24-hour man rule. Well, that's Nick Saban, but I kind of stole it from him. But the last time we were in this building on a Friday night, I believe it was Evan Hoagland who had a shot similar to that, where it kind of went like in and out, and like no one really knew. And so the review was turned off, I think, for that moment. But nah, it's just an interesting sequence. It led to a goal, by the way, to make a long story short. But, man, that's just good chances, though.
Of course, the review is turned off when you need it. It's got to sit there until you need it, and then it goes off.
Yeah.
But that's how things roll sometimes. 12:25 left, third period. Bugs up 1-0. John Burt controls it over the line left side. They'll say Willie did not have a successful toe drag, so Bugs will have to tie up. Icing is eventually washed out the other way as Adams picks it back up. Centering feed over the red line come the Bugs. Now over the blue line, dropped off for Grayson. Grayson, right circle, fires one up over top the net. Comes now into the skates of Adams. Adams down for Hoagland, who fires one off the side of the cage again. Hoagie's had a couple of chances that time as he mixes up behind a play with Poe. Puck comes back out to center, and Adams will backhand it for the Bugs to get some fresh bodies out there with under 12 minutes to go. Let's pick back up again. Wranglers near side in the corner. Flipped up to the blue line. Sent it over the line. Foot race for it. It's going to be won that time by Dolan. Dolan tied up along the wall. He's got his stick tangled in a bug there. Giveaway right out in front, though, in the slot. Amarillo looking for something. Send it back up to the blue line. Big drive for Hedquist. Rebound up in front. Hodges with a big sprawling stop to his left. He keeps it out. And a big scramble in front of it as things start to mix up in what's been a calm hockey game to this point. What a great stop for Tyler to keep it a one-goal game yet again.
What more can be said, Zach? Good stuff from Tyler Hodges as Jake Boulanger, which, by the way, the first time I said his name here, it was a fun experience. So it's spelled Boulanger, and you think Bollinger, right, or Boulanger, something like that. But Boulanger, nonetheless, Boulanger had a shot, and there was a tangled, basically, like my sentence there, it was a wild, chaotic mess. But what it really mattered, Tyler Hodges stepped up.
And we talked about it at the second intermission, Duncan. Shots are 24-17. There's been one goal scored. The goaltenders have played pretty well. I mean, the offenses have struggled at times for both teams, and the defense has been pretty good. But the goaltenders have really kind of been the difference, and I love that because in the pregame show I said that the goaltenders are going to be different. So I get to be right sometimes, as Bennett controls the face-off in the defensive end, or offensive end rather, but the Bugs steal it away as Griner with a long stretch pass cross ice. Doesn't connect cleanly. Amarillo will force a turnover in the defensive end. They'll wrap it back of the net off the very top of the glass. I don't know how that stayed in play, just barely by about half of the puck that time. As Owen Case will track it down on the right side. Case knocked off the puck. 4-car pile up again. Wilson and Griner in there on defense as well. Picked up, centering feed, goes through the crease, and the Bugs will steer that out quickly. Back up ahead to center, dumped in by Vinny. He gets taken down. Far side, wrapped around the boards, comes near side. Remy off of the bench will pinch and hold in at the hash marks. Wraps it back around the board. Below the goal line, it's picked up. Defensive end by Azani. Flips it out to center ice. Goes up ahead all the way down. Hodges back out to play it behind his cage. Leaves it off for Remy. Remy plays catch again over to the far wall. Bugs start to break out far side to the blue line. Poked away by the Wranglers for a second at the center logo, but then the Bugs steal it right back, turn and fire it in. Gets a shot on net out of it. Goaltender will let us keep on rolling here with 10:15 to go in the third. Bugs up 1-0 here on this Friday in Amarillo. Icing is washed out all the way down. Who's going to win the foot race? It's going to be Remy, who's going to slap it around the boards far side, but not out. Only got to the blue line. Wranglers hold it in, offensive end. Good battle there. Around the board it comes for Lupo. Lupo picks it up, slides it back up to the point. Shot there by Kuritai. Goes to the far side. John Burnt will track it down. Flips it up the wall far side. Bugs break it out to center. Barrett touch pass off to his right. Brought in. And Birchfield tried a nice move there, but lost the puck. Gets it right back. Goes coast to coast. Flips it up into the bottom of the circle. Birchfield hustling back on defense. Here comes Soren down the wing. Near side. Tried to feed it to the left side for the trailer boards. That one never got to the net, and that's one. Sometimes you just take the shot rather than go for the extra pass as icing waved off. Goes all the way back down. Amarillo's goaltender had a trouble kind of stopping that for a moment. Now the Wranglers will settle it down. Walks off to the right of the net, up the near wing. Tremblay with a good back check, but is eventually poked ahead into the corner. It's going to be a good foot race for it. Resega in, and he gets tied up back of the cage. Resega tied up still. Comes free for Mitchell Reed. Reed flips up the wall for Tremblay. Still a good battle. Resega and a Bug over there. I can't tell who that is. Adams, maybe?
Yes.
It is Adams. Now it's back the other way. Hoagland came into the zone, but it's immediately given away. Adams goes off for a change. Case is back out there. It's Resega. Left side. It's the trailer in the slot. And a good play by Owen Case to steal it away. Here's Gerhard up the near wing. Gerhard drops it across the line for Tremblay. Tremblay kicks it to his stick. Fires one top shelf. Willie Tremblay scores. And it's 2-0 Bugged with 8:39 to go. And Willie Tremblay, his fourth of the season. And it's 2-0.
Parlez-vous français, Willie Tremblay. An excellent shot from the Quebec native. Love to see it from Willie Tremblay. By the way, parlez-vous français means, do you speak French? Not only does he speak French, but he's got the Bugs up 2-0. Love to see it, Willie Tremblay.
That is Tremblay's first goal since December 28th against the Lone Star Brahmas. Oh my.
A game I also called and said parlez-vous français, Willie Tremblay. But nonetheless, so Tremblay would get that goal, and it looked like the offense officials are saying, obviously, and then the assist will come from number 23, Evan Hoagland. So good stuff.
That was not, looking at that play, we kind of talked about it with Barrett earlier. This one goes out of the outstretched reach of a bug. That's Wolf Tall being enticing. That was another one here. Wasn't the prettiest goal. He fired it. It took a weird angle to the net through the air. But a goal's a goal, and it's 2-0. And again, Willie is 4th of the season. So, and you love to see that too. You've got Willie scoring his 4th, Barrett scoring his 3rd. Some guys that have been impacts but just haven't gotten on the scoreboard now tonight are headlining this one. So far tonight, Bugs up 2-0 with 8:22 to go as it's played out for Roberts to center. Amarillo picks it back up. The Wranglers go D to D in their own end. Flipped up ahead. A linesman said they stayed on side. Comes near side now for Hedquist. Hedquist, top of the right circle. Spun off the puck. Bugs force the turnover in open ice as Roberts will control. Centering for Chase. Sakrisky down the slot. Looking for a play. Works off to his left. Cycles it down to the corner. Picked up there. Centering feed. Nobody was home as Gentler steals it away. Gentler slides it off for Bennett far side. Bennett over the line. Burt comes in to help out and knock him down along the half wall there. Forces a turnover. Separates body from puck. The rule book definition of a check. And he did it that time. That comes back far side. Roberts whiffs on the clearing attempt. Wranglers will pick it back up into their own end. 7.5 to go here in the 3rd period and this Friday night down in Amarillo at the Budweiser bullpen. Good showing for the Bugs fans. Here's Giulio, centering feed for Griner, but instead it goes for Roberts, who fired one and almost got a good scoring chance himself. Now it goes back up top for Vinny. Vinny cycles at the blue line, tried to feed it back to the left, and it's tied up off the wall. Comes for John Burnt back to his own end. A race to track it down. Bugs quickly re-enter the zone. Griner centering feed down the slot. Simons couldn't corral it cleanly. Loses it into the corner. Picks it up back far wall. Up to the blue line. Griner gets knocked down. And now Amarillo tries to start a 2-player breakout. They lost the puck at the blue line, delayed offside. It's touched up by Ogle. And that'll bring us to immediate timeout. And now we've got some jawing right here as Vinny mixing it up. And I know I'd always love to reference it because it was my first Mudbugs game, but the last person to fight Vinny Giulio, it didn't go well for.
No, it did not.
6:56 left. We'll take a timeout here on the Bugs Broadcast Network. 2-0 after the Willie Tremblay goal.
Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Hey fan, this is William Alexis Tremblay and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Walker. Now let's get back to the action. Let's go Bugs.
William Alexis Tremblay, the goal scorer, the insurance goal, and I don't have the French suave to say it quite like he does, but it's 2-0. Tremblay with the goal, 6:56 left here in the 3rd period. Mudbugs Hockey, as always, brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. I'd like to remind you that's Fireplace Specialties, the proud corporate partner of your Mudbugs. Fireplaces, gas log, glass doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills, they've got it all. Located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties, your fireplace headquarters. Thankfully, the face-off put an end to Sweet Caroline because of the Boston Red Sox fan. The only place you can play Sweet Caroline is at Fenway Park. But I digress as it's turned and delayed suspension. Now we'll get a whistle and played down with a high stick by somebody. I don't think anybody saw quite what happened there. But if you haven't experienced Sweet Caroline at Fenway Park, it ruins it everywhere else after you do.
Not wrong, but Willis Knight Athletic trainer Hunter Robinson will have something to say about that because he is a West Virginia grad. And it's funny, during the Backyard Brawl game, I think we had a game actually on during the Backyard Brawl. It got played, and he said the ESP, I'm not going to repeat it, but as to steal a line from Kurt Signetti and Billy Welker, Google it.
Now here's Rasega over the line right side. Lost it, and the Bugs start to break out the other way. Here's Barrett up the right wing. In over the line. Centering feed there, and the Bugs are moving the puck. Well, that looked like Team USA's goal the other night right there with that puck movement. Back out to center ice, or the Microsoft Paint version, because that's all we get to see on Twitter there. Even the poor NHL teams can't post highlights. You got to love it. In the far corner it goes. Semengo drops it off into the corner. Batted down. And a big drive right out in front. Great one-timer that time for Dolan. Rebound comes aside. Hodged with another big kick save. Off to the far side. Pick back up Dolan at the left hash mark. Into the corner. Sends it off. Angle shot towards the net. Goes off the side of the cage. Picked back up by the Bugs. Gerhardt has it at the blue line. He'll flip it out to center. Not going to be enough for icing as it barely got to the circles. Picked up eventually by Koval. Koval up ahead quickly into the zone as the Bugs run a change. Into the corner it goes. Wranglers have the puck. 5:38 left, third period. Bugs lead 2-0. Up top. Big drive, highest point. That one's turned aside by Hoagland. Helping out his netminder in front. Below the goal line it goes again. Owen Case ties up a man along the wall. Tremblay will steal it away, and here comes Willie looking for goal number 2 of the day. Pass out the blue line for Gerhardt. Back down into the corner for Willie. Willie touch pass to the middle, turned aside, back up towards the blue line, and Amarillo will start to break out. Here's Wilson. Tracks it down his own end, backhands it off the wall, up for Grayson. Grayson left it to the middle, but nobody was home. And here comes Gentler down the left wing. Gentler to the bottom of the circle, centering feed. That one's pushed aside as well. And the Bugs will try to hold it along the wall. Just clear the traffic out in front. That's all they got to do now with 4:55 left. Wilson behind the cage. Flips it for Owen Case. Lost the puck, got it back. And Owen will stand tall and rifle it all the way down. Willie got a touch on it, so that will negate icing. And the Bugs go for wholesale changes here as the Wranglers will start it up far side. Pusateri grabs at his own blue line, swings it across for John Burnt, wide of his reach. Johnny Burnt's eventually going to battle for it, though. Along the wall it comes for Wolf Talby. Wolf Talby takes a check and stands tall to avoid going down to the ice. And now he'll send it into open ice as the Bugs start to break out right to left. 4:22 to go, and over the line it comes. Centering feed there, goes off the side of the net. Net came off again. The conspiracy grows. And that'll draw a whistle with 4:17 left in the third. Shots 26-18 in favor of Amarillo. The Bugs' defense has looked really good so far, though.
They do. They absolutely do. And as all the small things, as all the small things, that's probably not the name of the song, but that's what I know it as. But no, my point is, to drive a point home, the Bugs' defense is doing all the small things right to help this 2-0 effort. And when we have a second, I want to get back to the Willie Tremblay goal. Hello. Okay. Conspiracy grows, I guess.
Net comes off right as the Wranglers were in danger. I'm going to put that out there, and the folks at home can think about what they'd like to think about from that. Here in Amarillo, 4:13 left, third period, 2-0 score in favor of the Bugs, but an entertaining hockey game. Hope you're enjoying wherever you're listening from, whether joining us on NATV. I know we had a lot of fans watching back at home in Shreveport, waiting for the Bugs to return home. And here's Burnt with a drive right off the faceoff. That's turned aside to center. Wranglers will start it up. Bugs get it right back, though. It's Julio over the center logo, works off to his right, and wraps it around the boards. Back of the cage, it's touched. Simon's going to win a foot race, centering feed there. Got turned aside. Vinny will hold it against the wall, feeds it for Grinder in the middle. Grinder slides it up for Burnt at the blue line. Righty stick fires it, gets it right back. Rebound goes off a man in front. That was Julio. Thought that was maybe going to get redirected towards the net, but instead it comes back out to center ice. John Burnt picks it back up for Simons. Far wall given away at the blue line. Here's a chance for Amarillo down the slot. Fed it off to the left, and that's another one, Duncan, where you'd almost like to see them, if you're a Wranglers fan, just take the shot rather than look for the extra pass. Back in the corner it goes, tied up along the wall for Sega. In a good battle that time, but eventually comes out as Griner will dump it in and head off for a change. All the way down it goes. 3:20 to go, third period. Bugs up 2-0. Wranglers with the puck. Far side. We've got to keep an eye on the netminder, see when they choose to pull him for the extra attacker. Offensive end, it's controlled by Amarillo. Far side. Adams corrals the loose puck. Good battle for it, but eventually going to be won by Mason Lupo. Works around to the near wall it comes. Into the corner with 3 minutes to go. Flipped up the wall by the Bugs. Can't clear it out. Held in at the hash marks by Boers. Boers into the corner. Slides it back up to the blue line. Kuritai feeds it across. Big one-time blast from the far point. That's turned aside the wall. All the way up to center ice and all the way back to the Amarillo blue line. But the Wranglers quickly, they don't waste any time. Big drive for Boers. That went off a man in front. Never got towards the net. That was Adams that time, or Reed rather, and he still delivers a check despite after taking the puck up high. Back of the cage is played for Adams. Adams wraps it around the boards, but not out. Held in again by Kuritai. 2:26 left. That shot deflected up into the ceiling. And like we talked about with Lone Star last week, it's a long way to the ceiling here at the Budweiser bullpen.
No, it really isn't. That was kind of impressive. And, that was just impressive. So, what I was saying about the Willie Tremblay goal was, and again, as all the small things plays once again, it looks like they're going to go to a timeout. Amarillo is, so I'm just going to get this in. As all the small things play, William Alexis Tremblay did the small thing. He actually, the puck actually bounced off his skate. He was able to get it back, snipe it right past Casimir Wickstrom, which, by the way, I think after this timeout they're going to pull him. Could be wrong. We'll find out after this timeout. So.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace, gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Hey, this is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Welker. Now let's get back to the action. Claws up.
Porter's Industrial has been delivering the difference for Mudbugs Hockey. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, providing floor mats, uniforms, and facility services for your company. 2:23 left in this third period on this Friday night before one more game tomorrow. Then the Bugs finally, Duncan, return to the friendly confines of George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum.
Love the term friendly confines as a Cub fan. I'll keep it like that. But if you want to know how to get tickets, especially for a nice group of four, we have a family four-pack for both Friday and Saturday night. $44 will get you 4 tickets, 4 bags of popcorn, and on Friday night, 4 post-game skate passes and entry to the Word of God Ministries concert. And then on Saturday, also 4 game passes. Net
Here's
empty.
Griner, empty net. Julio slides it off to the right. They score. It's Wolf Talby who scores a goal, and now he's going to mix it up as he got hit away from the play. Wolf Talby grabs a hold of a man down there in the corner, and all heck is breaking loose here with 2:12 as Remy is going after Hedquist. Remy doesn't want to drop the gloves. Hedquist looking for a dance partner. They'll just grab onto each other at the hash marks while everybody else gets tied up in the corner. The goal was scored by Wolf Talby. Interesting puck movement. Julio had the empty net. He came across the line. He slid it for Hoagland, who gave it to Wolf Talby. Liam is on the board, his 6th of the season. His last goal prior to Lone Star was against New Mexico. He's had a good couple of weeks. And with 2:12 left, it's 3-0 Bugs.
He really has, as both Karatai and, Pusateri step into the box now, and then Liam Wolf Talby with his helmet off and the beautiful flow that he has. But no, that was an interesting setup to give that empty net goal, actually. You mentioned Vinny Julio had it and could have just thrown it on in Happy, tapped it on in Happy, but instead gave it to Liam Wolf Talby. And you know what? If it would have missed, and thankfully it didn't, I very much would have repeated what you want, or repeated what you've said all night. That's a moment when you don't want to make the extra pass, but it worked out. So
it looks like just Remy, Hedquist, and Kuratai also go. So Wolf Talby stays out of the box, and now we're going to get a discussion between the referee and Michael Hill. So Wolf Talby, again, I mentioned 6th goal of the year, 17th point. A 3-game point streak back in November, and then, like I said, the last couple of weeks, he's kind of really turned it on offensively. He can score, that's for sure. We go back to some of his pre-junior days. Back in high school, in 18 AAA, he had a 56-point season. 56 points for him in, 18 AAA in just 48 games that year. So Liam can score, and he's been throwing the body around a lot as well, and he gets the goal to put the Bugs up 3-0, and a couple of penalties we'll get to as soon as we have a moment to. Here's a giveaway by the Bugs, goes towards the crease, but Gerhard will eventually steal that away. Now it's a giveaway right out in front again, back up to the blue line. High slot, big drive, one-time blast from the left circle. That's turned aside, and Griner will pick up, and here are the penalties.
And of course, and it's weird, it reads Mitchell Reed roughing for 2 minutes at 2:12, but Hayden Hedquist, who is in the box, also 2 minutes for roughing. Nothing on Karatai, and again, nothing on Pusateri. So as it stands right now, at least, Bugs are on the power play on this Scott Powerline power play. Sets the penalty to Hayden Hedquist. So interesting.
Turned aside as a Wrangler there grabs John Burnt, and Johnny just skates away from him because the Bugs are up 3-0 with minute 25 to go. Burnt slaps it up the wall, up ahead through the skates of Semengo, all the way back down. Hodges will come out of his crease to plate, and Liam Wolf-Talby picks up and settles it back of the net. Liam waiting for a play, getting all the pieces set up here. Stands behind Hodges, who provides a screen. Now he goes off to the right, up the far wall. Bugs will play it out to center. Nice backhand touch pass. In over the line is Roberts. Roberts from the circle takes a big hit as he lets it fly, and Wolf-Talby again away from the play, mixing it up, and now here comes Sakrisky in to help him out, and Chase is always a fiery player as well, and now a big hit as a Wrangler gets knocked down, and here we go, another scrum. Roberts has the lid off. He's throwing a couple of rights there in the corner. He's tied up there with, I believe that's Ogle. Away from the play, Wolf-Talby still John away with Jake Thornton. Those two have had their eye on each other all night. Wolf-Talby and Thornton delivering some body jabs. That's about it away from the play. They've got no linesmen over there to separate. I think go as long as they want, but looks like they will separate themselves and go their own ways. And Chase is having Semengo rather, having a spirited discussion with the referee there with 62 seconds to go in the third. Bugs up 3-0. We'll see who goes. Roberts, I would assume, is going to go to the box, and that's the only door that appears to be opening right now. So it looks like Roberts will be the only one to go, but at this point, it's all but a moot point.
Yeah, and the penalties have updated for the last two penalties. It still says Mitchell Reed. Obviously, he's down on the bench. We know it's Remy Pusateri for the Bugs. But for the Wranglers, it's Caden Nagardi with a roughing minor, and then Hayden Hedquist. And now Jeremiah Roberts has been thrown on the board. And it looks like it'll be for roughing. Yes, it will.
So that'll negate the remainder of the Bugs power play. With a minute 2 left to go here in the third. Bugs haven't really had too many, well, nobody's really had too many special teams chances. Most of the penalties have been coincidental minors that even things up. So a very well played, or a very cleanly played game. A very odd game in the North American Hockey League South Division, but it's a nice departure from normalcy sometimes, I guess, as the Bugs will bring it up far side. Sent near side for Reed. Reed flips it ahead at the blue line. Into the zone they come. Down the slot, goes through his skates, and eventually controlled and turned aside by Fair. He controls below the goal line, flips up ahead. Semengo in for some defense, blows the tire and goes down. Played back of the net again. Birchfield's got it with 28 seconds. He'll gingerly stroll with it, and now works behind his net. Out for a stroll in the park. So he waits for his pilot's license, you told me. That's pretty cool.
Pilot's license, yeah.
As I told you, as soon as I found out I had him pegged as a pilot the moment I met him. I've been flying with pilots for the last 2 years, and they're all the same in one way or another. 5 seconds left, everything tied up. Semengo with it is getting thrown down to the ice with Evan Adams. That's going to be a penalty, and Birchfield's going to come in defense as the clock hits 0. We'll see if they put more time on the clock. The whistle came with about 2 seconds. But the Bugs are leaving the bench, and I think that's going to, let's see if that's going to put a wrap on it as somebody for the Wranglers there. That is Dolan is going after the referee now as the referee tries to escort him off. It looks like that's going to be the end of this one. And unceremoniously, the game ends, and the Bugs, a big offensive performance, a 3-0 victory on this Friday night.
Love to see it. And Zach, like my good friend Trevor always says, no bug boil here tonight. Bugs win 3-0. Love to see it.
So big offensive performance. They needed to see that for the Bugs, and they got it. We'll take a quick timeout. On the other side, the Nickies wrap-up show comes your way on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantlets, and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey, this is Tyler Hodges, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Mudbugs wrap up presented by Nicky's Mexican Restaurant. Nicky's. Don't drink the water. Try our margaritas today. And, you know, the wrap-up show is always sweeter after victory, and that's what we got here tonight. Duncan, 3-0. The Bugs victorious on this Friday. Let's walk through the goals here.
Absolutely, brother. Ryan Barrett, 1943, often negated icing, rebound opportunity. Lovely stuff unassisted. Third period, Willie Tremblay got the puck caught up in his feet, but what mattered, puck past the net. That would be 2-0. Probably messed up some French there, but that's why I don't speak French. Moving on, Liam Wolf-Talby, 2:12 in the third period, empty net goal. Assist coming from Vinny DiUlio and Jared Greiner, and the Willie Tremblay goal being assisted by Evan Hoagland. That's all the goals. Now penalties, there were some being announced as we were coming back into the break. Daniel Doylan with a 2-minute holding minor, so I assume he's just going to serve it for I don't know. I was trying to make a joke, but
in the hockey abyss, he'll serve that somewhere.
Hockey abyss, there you go. Yeah,
hockey purgatory. That's what it is.
That works. But yeah, and then of course goaltending wise, Tyler Hodges stopping 26 of 26. Love to see it from the Gormley, Ontario native. And then, of course, on the other side of things, Casimir Rekstrom stopping 17 of 20. Had to do a little math there. But nonetheless, Zach, good all-around effort from the Bugs tonight. Bit of a fired-up effort, about as fired up and as hot as the salsa out in the lobby, but nonetheless.
Well, we are in Texas after all. But no, Barrett gets the first goal. That's his third of the year. Willie had his fourth, and Wolf-Talby has his sixth. And again, just a great offensive effort. And Smitty talked about in the pregame, talking about how he didn't feel that Amarillo had a solid performance from us that they've seen in our first 4 games, of course, losing. And now the Bugs finally break the ice against their Anglers, get their first victory of the season against Amarillo, and they do it by a score of 3-0 here on this Friday night. They took over the hockey game, and that really showed there. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll take you around the rest of the North American Hockey League as we get you set for the Saturday matchup between these two teams. Bugs victorious 3-0 over Amarillo on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
This is Alexis Tremblay, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Mudbugs wrap-up show again is brought to you as always by our friends at Nicky's Mexican Restaurant. Don't drink the water. Try our margaritas today. I'd like to remind you the Bugs are back at home next weekend, so be sure to log on and get your tickets now. I'm sure those will be in probably short supply, high demand after a little over a month away from Georgia's Pond. Nonetheless, if you have a large group you'd like to bring out, ask about our group rates that feature home games. Groups of 10 or more get tickets for just $10 each. Call 318-636-7094 to book your group today. And, of course, the family 4-pack for both games as well on Friday and Saturday versus the Odessa Jackalopes.
Of course, on Friday night, that family 4-pack gets you 4 tickets, 4 bags of popcorn, and 4 post-game skate passes. That also coincides with the Word of God Ministries, as it's our God and Goals night, brought to you by our friends at Word of God Ministries, and that's all for $44 using the code FAMILY when you purchase tickets at tickets.georgespond34.com. And of course, if you need more, call us at 318-636-7094. And then Saturday night, beautiful night, Saturday night, 4 tickets, 4 popcorn bags, and 4 post-game skate passes. Of course, once again, using the code FAMILY when you purchase tickets at tickets.georgespond34.com. And again, if you need more, that's okay. 318-636-7094 is the number to go. So, Zach, as we go into tomorrow night, excited. I'm excited, but cautious. And I say that because we sat, well, not here, obviously, but we sat on this wrap-up show last week and was excited for a game the next day against the Lone Star Brahmas, coming off a 3-0 win. And, well, the less said about that, the better, but you still have to be a little cautious, a little ambitious. Before tonight, the Mudbugs were coming in 0-3-1, and I do count the 1 because, I'm a shootout nerd, against these Amarillo Wranglers. Now, the theory has always been, at least in my mind, that Michael Hill gets these guys prepared, especially when facing against us, because it just means more to him. I mean, Michael Hill was a former Mudbugs assistant coach. He knows some of these guys. He knows, for example, Duke Earhart, who didn't play, obviously he'll play tomorrow, but he knows guys like Remy Pusateri, for example, Jonah Jasser, Ryan Baird, and a lot of these other guys that he had not only last year, but some of which the year prior to that. He knows these guys. He knows them in and out. But in saying that, I'm still excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous. Well, not nervous. Let's scratch that from the record books. I'm excited, but cautious. Let's put it like that.
That's fair, yeah. And again, a big one for the Bugs. They've had a great effort, but you got to come out and repeat it now. Get both games on the weekend. So before we get you set for tomorrow's matchup, let's now take a look around the North American Hockey League and kind of see the South Division we mentioned. We're tied in that 6th place spot with Odessa coming into tonight. Everybody else is just a few points away, and a lot of things can happen with a couple of games. So let's take a look now at the out-of-town scoreboard and your updated South Division standings.
Of course, thanks, Zach. Let's take a look at some of the South Division scores. As we stand right now, it looks like El Paso and Oklahoma are tied all zeros on the board. Just refresh the NAHL.com website. They are still all tied up at 0-0 as they go into the third period. The other South Division game, Corpus Christi and Odessa in a shootout. So it'll be interesting. So Odessa will get the point, so will Corpus Christi, as they finish that one there at the arena escape. The arena name escapes me now. We're going there in a few weeks, so maybe I'll learn it by then.
Odessa?
Yeah.
Ector County Coliseum.
Thank you very much. So the Ector County Coliseum. But nonetheless, that game is in a shootout right now. So, and then, of course, here in Amarillo, 3-0 in favor of the Mudbugs. And let's take a look at some of those South Division standings real quick. Of course, Lone Star, first place. They had the week off, which, not going to lie, I would love a week off, but I'm gonna hold that in reserve. But
we don't need to jinx that. We already had one Snowmageddon. Let's not.
That's true.
let's not find a second one.
No, that's true. But in terms of standings, Lone Star first place, 61. El Paso 56 in second. New Mexico third, 53. Corpus 45. So once the standings are fully updated, it looks like as it stands, Corpus will stay in fourth with 46. And, of course, Oklahoma and El Paso still ongoing, so we won't know the score. We won't know the score or the standings fully until tomorrow. But, of course, the Mudbugs get that all-important 2 points, so they'll move up to 44. And so any way you slice it, they'll still be a little bit behind Corpus and a little bit behind Oklahoma any way you slice it. And, of course, Odessa, they'll get that 1 point in the shootout, so they'll sit at 43 points. And, of course, the Amarillo Wranglers sitting at 8th with 38 points. And just to take a look at some few notable games going on around the rest of the North American Hockey League, because I believe this North American Hockey League is a beautiful thing, and I say beautiful both in a little bit of sarcasm but a little bit of truth, Zach. So Maryland Black Bears 4-0 over the Northeast Generals, and with that win, the Maryland Black Bears actually clinch. They're the first team to clinch their spot into the Robertson Cup playoffs, so it'll be interesting to see the Black Bears. Of course, the Mudbugs saw them back at the Blaine Showcase. That was ages ago. Gosh, it feels like Mudbugs actually won that game in a shootout. So moving along here, Elmira, the Aviators, 6-4 over the Johnstown Tomahawks. Danbury Hat-Tricks, 3-2 over the New Hampshire Mountain Kings. The Minnesota Mallards, 6-4 over the Minot Minotauros. Rochester Junior Americans, 4-1 over the Maine Nordiques. And the Springfield Junior Blues, 3-1 over the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. And, of course, as we take one final look at the scoreboard side of things from the NAHL.com website, nothing has been updated from Oklahoma and El Paso. It still remains 0-0 as they enter a minute into the third period. And nothing has been updated with Corpus Christi and Odessa. So we'll have to find out where we lay with that tomorrow. So, Zach, that wraps it up on my end. And to all of you still listening, watching, what have you, have a good night. Do good, be good, and as always, claws up, go Bugs. Zach, set us home.
Bugs get to 3-0 victory on this Friday night. 2 points go in their column. They now sit at 19-17, 3-3. Tyler Hodges improves to 14-10, 2-3. He continues his solid season thus far in the South Division. Tomorrow night's opening puck drop scheduled for 7:14 p.m. once again. We'll be on the air just before 7 o'clock, as always, on NATV or right here on our Mudbugs YouTube. So be sure to come along and ride with us once again. Final score here, 3-0. Bert Tremblay and Wolf Talby, the goal scorers. Good night, everyone, and good hockey.